Time is here. Time is here to reveal the artist who won the contest, the songwriting contest of Berlin. Brought to you by Son of a Pigeon and M Gold Music. The only ones, there is no others. And just before I'm going to reveal exactly who won this contest, and there are great winners, I would like to ask all of you, and I know that most of you are listening on Spotify, so I would like to ask you all, just open Spotify and then open the episode that is being played, which is the episode of Carrio Xanders, which you will hear soon. It's incredible, deep conversation with this guy. I really enjoy that. So if you open up his beautiful photo and then you scroll down, you will see a Q&A section, and then you can write down a reply, whatever you thought about the episode. Please let me know what you think about it. I'm very curious, and also it will help the episode to spread and to reach more people, which is very important for the podcast, for the people who are coming to the podcast, so those beautiful artists can go and get as much as people out there. It will be very helpful. And now, for the moment we all been waiting for, the winners. And right before we say the winners again, I would like to thank each artist who sent music and took his time to send us your beautiful music. And as far as I'm concerned, every song that went to the top 8 was really, really, really good. And there is infinite potential in those songs. So do not stop making music. Do not stop being creative, and do not stop daring and dreaming. And now on the third place, Joanna Adams. Hell yes, this Frenchy song is really beautiful, and you won the third place. Congratulations. And now we continue to the second place. Tony and Friede. You won the second place with the incredible Dua piano song. So good luck with that. And for the first place, that was the song that the judges liked the most. And that was the song that was decided by them. And the winner is Dozy Jane. And the song is called Time to Say Goodbye. And this is the song that Matan and I are going to work together with Dozy. And let's see what will come out of it. I'm very excited. And I would like to give a big shout out to the judges who helped us decide which song is the best of all of them. And the judges are Federico, who was on the podcast. I think he's the most unbiased person to do this job. Thank you, Federico. The second judge is Laura Ute. And she is an incredible singer based in Berlin, dancer, artist, fashion designer, you name it, really creative person. And the last but not least, Nicolas Graf, also a Berlin-based producer, really, really talented producer. And all of them are unbiased, definitely, and go follow them. And I'm very happy to see there is such a beautiful community in Berlin of talented musicians that just want to be involved and to do stuff and to spread out. This is incredible. If you're a musician and you're listening to this episode, contact me, be on the show, spread your music, be known, and let's do something with that. And now we go to the episode. Enjoy. Sound of the Pigeon Podcast. Son of a Pigeon Podcast.
Son of a Pigeon Podcast.
Son of a Pigeon. Now it's live. Welcome. Hello,
you.
Carrio Xanders.
Yeah, Carrio Xanders. Yeah.
Carrio Xanders. But it's written with an X.
Yeah, it's written with an X. It's a short form of Alexander.
Ah, okay. Alexander. And Carrio somehow?
Carrio is just a spin on my
It's
actual
Carrio,
name.
not Carrio.
I say Carrio.
Yeah, we just talked about it in Israel about where you put the emphasis in the name.
Yeah,
It makes a difference.
it does. In my native Nigerian language too, they have something similar to that. There is a word that could have like 5 different meanings depending on how you say it, like where the intonation is. I guess it's sort of similar to Hebrew too.
Yeah, actually, we do have this. It might be written a bit differently, but yeah, we have this few words like ochal and ochel. So one of them will be able to do something, and the second one means food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's interesting because
languages.
I've got a Chinese friend too who told me they have something similar in Chinese too, and I'm just thinking, okay, so it's sort of like all these languages have very similar structures and similar theories. I
think
guess.
they're all the same somehow.
Yeah.
They might expand in different ways, but if you go back and you trace, you follow the rope to this one origin, you would see everything comes to a similar place.
Yeah. We see the same with a lot of European languages too. There's a lot of similarity between German and English, Spanish and Italian.
Yeah.
It's sort of like they all have the same roots, basically. That's what it looks like.
I'm listening now to an audiobook. It's not really audiobook, it's a collection of a lot of lectures about the human language, something like that. It was free on Audible, so I took it.
Okay.
And you see it's like 19 hours or something insane like that. And
What's it called?
Let's check. It's some university lecture.
Okay.
The story of human language.
Story of human language.
Whose university is that? The Great Courses. It sounds like something son of a pigeon would do. But it's really good. Every lecture is half an hour, so you can listen to it in little bits. And the guy who is giving you the information is doing it so good. And sometimes he makes those impressions about how really ancient languages would sound like with a really harsh consonant. It sounds horrifying to listen to that. But it gives you an idea how humans used to speak.
Yeah.
And now look at us. Both of us sitting here with fucking microphones, warm tea, recording stuff.
Yeah.
We came a long way.
Yeah, that's how things evolve. So many times when I think about the way languages evolved over time. I don't know how very familiar you are with like Victorian, Elizabethan English from that era. It sounds totally different from what we're speaking today, and you might not even be able to understand the damn thing they're saying. And it's the same language. Or when I speak with some of my American friends, they just don't get what I'm saying because they have a different way of expressing certain things. I have a different way of expressing certain things, and we speak the same language, but sometimes we just don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, you told me you grew up in the UK.
Yeah.
Where did you born in the UK?
No, I wasn't born in the UK. I was born in Nigeria, but we immigrated when I was a baby. And so I guess that's why I speak English. But even if we hadn't, I'm from Nigeria, so they also speak English in Nigeria. It's the official language. So
True.
Either way, I would have been an English speaker. But I also have a native Nigerian language. Like we have many local languages in Nigeria, over 200 different
The tribal languages.
Yeah. And so I'm from the southwestern part of the country. So we have a language that we speak. It's called Yoruba.
I heard this.
And there's actually a lot of Hebrew words in that language too.
Really? Like what?
Yeah. Even Arabic, there's a lot of Arabic words in, for example, onion, tzwiebel, we call it albosa.
Albosa. Yeah, in Hebrew, you say batzal in modern Hebrew, but if you say it properly, it will be basal. Basal, something like that.
Yeah, so we say alubosa, which is from that part of the world. And we also have a version of English that they call Pidgin English.
Pidgin English?
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, it's a world of its own. It's a world.
Pidgin English.
Yeah, it's called Pidgin English or Broken English. Some people say Broken English.
Or
So
it's like a mixture between local languages and English.
Yes. So it doesn't strictly follow the rules of English language, and because Nigeria had so much colonial presence back in the days, like the British were there, the Portuguese were there, so all of these languages kind of bled into the native and local languages. For example, in Pidgin English, they would call a child Pekin.
A what?
Pekin, a child.
Pecan.
Yeah, Pekin, which is from Portuguese and Spanish.
Ah, is it?
Yeah, pequeño is
Pequeño.
what they call a little child in Portuguese. So this is how I believe that made its way into the Nigerian English.
So
Even the
crazy.
city, the biggest city in Nigeria, it's called Lagos, and it's named after a Portuguese town, which is Lagos.
Yes.
So you see a lot of similarities between all of these languages and cultures and peoples.
Yeah, I heard about the arigato, the Japanese thank you. It's like obrigado.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's influenced by the Portuguese when they used to go
Yeah.
and merchant everywhere.
I guess.
Do you also know the Tik language? Yeah, they have those languages with tics from Africa.
I believe those are South African languages.
Yeah?
The ones with they make clicks in their throat, right?
I have no idea about it.
Yeah, I've heard of about those languages. I'm not really familiar with any of those, but I know they speak one of those in South Africa. I don't know if any other country speaks with clicks.
I know so little about Africa.
Oh, okay.
And I think I know more about Northern Africa because there is a lot of like Jewish people who came from there that came to Israel. So you really
Yeah, the
inside
culture.
the culture.
Yeah, it's more similar.
Yeah, and there are some Ethiopians in Israel. I think that's basically it. It's not been so much taught in school.
Oh, really?
The African continent and the Asian continent. You don't know shit about it. South America, I might know a little bit because it's a cool place to travel. But the rest, man, nothing. At least for me, I don't know. Maybe people had other experiences.
Yeah.
But I think Africa is so interesting. There is something very, very raw in Africa.
Yeah, it's I would say Africans are very passionate people, so it doesn't matter what world that we find ourselves, we kind of exaggerate things. Yeah, like everything is exaggerated in Africa. The corruption is exaggerated. The lifestyle is exaggerated. When you see the rich people, the very wealthy people of Nigeria, so they are extremely wealthy. And then when you see the poor, they are extremely poor. So it's like an extreme in both cases. There is really no middle ground. And so if you're not from Africa yourself, it's really hard for me to explain to, especially a European. It's hard for me to explain to them how things are in Africa. There is something I call the African paradigm, which is like extreme of both sides. You see extremely wealthy people, and then it makes no sense because on the other side of the road, then there are extremely poor people who cannot even, get by the day. And then you see these people on the other side, they're very wasteful, spending lavishly, and living that kind of a very
Crazy.
expensive lifestyle.
You can see it in Israel a little bit in Tel Aviv. You can have some streets that look like Colombia, like really garbage. Then 5 minutes walk, you see huge towers. It's insane.
Yeah.
But can you jump from a low state, like a low class in Nigeria to be rich? Is it possible? Or you need to be born in a certain family to do certain stuff?
It is possible. It is possible. There is the ruling elite. I believe every society has that. Even here in Germany, there is a few.
sure.
The ruling class, they're a very small, neat group of people. But Africa is also very capitalist. So it's easy for you to just come up with a dope idea and then just boom, overnight you become a successful person. And also the population really helps. It's like 300 million people in that country. If you sell one thing to 1 million people, which is not even, like the city I'm from, it's like 20 million people living in that city. So all you need is maybe 0.25 of that population to actually,
Yeah.
yeah. And the same thing goes with the musicians from Nigeria. They are very massive now across the world. And I believe it's the population that's really pushing it.
Yeah, if you get paid by stream, it doesn't matter where is the stream coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting concept to have.
Yeah.
And also the money in Africa, it's pretty fucked up from what I know.
Yeah.
It's been corrupted as fuck, and I think also the use of the Western monetized system.
Yeah,
It
currently
just
it's
made huge inflation there.
yes, there is. Currently there is even I don't know how much you know about Africa, but I would say that there are like 3 or 4, just like with almost every society, there is always like the big 3 or big 4, the very strong economies. And Nigeria, I would say, used to be one of them, or is one of them. I would say South Africa from the south. On the eastern side, I would say maybe Kenya. And then from the north, I would say maybe Egypt. So these are like the 4 powerhouses. And when things begin to look very bad in one of these major economies, it transmits across the continent.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of technology coming from Kenya. There's a lot of technology coming from Nigeria. They have like a startup scene in Nigeria that's really massive. And so when the investors don't invest into Nigeria as a startup economy, it really affects how the neighboring countries are also doing financially. But at the end of the day, I feel like if corruption is tackled, maybe things can change. I just don't know. I personally don't know how you can tackle corruption.
Yeah, that's the thing. If corruption could be tackled, it will be good. But then, how do we do that?
Yeah. How do we do that?
How do we do that? Yeah, it's interesting concept to have one ruler on so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also, I can see it for sure in the Middle East. I might say it also for Africa like that. Also for, basically every country that is not European.
Yeah.
They have borders that were decided that this is now a country. It made a lot of mess.
Yes, it did.
It just took tribes that were tribes, and then they somehow
split them or join them together.
Without any sense. And now all of you speak the same language.
Yeah.
And there is one house with I don't know percentage. Like how many people are there in Nigeria in the government?
In the government?
Ministers and everything.
Oh, I have no idea.
In Israel, you have 120 people.
I believe there are more in Nigeria. Like I told you, we exaggerate things. We go crazy overboard. I believe there's way more in Nigeria.
All right, let's take the Israeli example. How can 120 people
rule the entire nation?
How can they satisfy everybody? It's not about even satisfying. I think it's more about we need to be small communities as humans. This is how we work better. We need to find those that we like, and then we can somehow make something together. But if there are too many people, you need to take care of everybody.
Yeah,
you cannot please everybody in the end.
No, you can't.
You need to make some drastic decisions who will get a bit more.
Yeah.
And so once you do that in a state, in a scale of a state or a country, then I think when you get a bit less, it's not just a little bit. I think it amplifies. And if it happens over time, like it happens in those days, and you have elections and one person is chosen,
how can one person be chosen?
What the fuck?
Like how? Because like you said, this demarcation of tribes of people. For example, I have a friend who's from Ivory Coast, and he's from the same tribe that I am from in Nigeria, but he's from a different country.
And how close are you physically?
Very close. It's in West Africa too.
How far is it from, let's say, where you live to where he lives?
I mean, if you fly, maybe it takes 6 hours, I would say.
Oh, this is a lot of time. And how is it the same tribe? It just got splitted and moved?
Yeah, and this tribe exists in like 4 different countries in West Africa. Many of the tribes in Nigeria too. This is why we have so much population, because it was just a bunch of small groups and communities that would join together, and the British named it Nigeria. And that's they named it. And the funny thing is, they don't even teach that in school. The real history of the Africans.
They teach you the British
history.
They
teach us the British version of it, which is there was a guy from Ireland. He was the one that discovered Nigeria. His name
discovered Nigeria.
Yeah. So he came. It was an Irish, or was it Scottish? I'm not really sure. Crazy. But it was an explorer, and it was the one that discovered Nigeria. Off camera, you were asking me about the country Niger and the country Nigeria. They're 2 different countries. So there's a river called Niger River. So this is where these countries take their name. So when the British named Nigeria, they named it the place around the Niger area. So it's Niger area that they coined together and then formed Nigeria. And then Niger, because it was colonized by the French, that's why they pronounce it Niger, not Niger. So you can see it's really the same people, different colonizers, different languages, but that's just how it went.
And this is the world, basically.
This is the world.
And if someone is listening right now and they can see how fucked up it is and how it makes no sense,
Yeah.
spread it, please.
Yeah, that's how it started. And they just split brothers and cousins and then throw them in different places and changed our names, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's the same in the Middle East, as I said.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing. It's still going on, if you ask me. I don't think it has stopped.
What do you mean? What's still going on?
Like the Western people just invading countries and just trying to change things around.
I think now it's a bit different because we are in the internet area.
Yeah, it is different. Yeah, I know it is different, but it's still very similar.
The invasion comes differently.
It comes in a different way. Yeah.
But there is also the revolution of the internet. And
Yeah.
I think also this is one thing that will make Africa quite rich if they continue in this path, this cryptocurrency.
I believe so.
And in Africa, because the monetary system is very fucked up and there's almost no value to the money there, so they really want to start using those currencies.
Yeah, but currently in Nigeria, they have something I would call the financial revolution. The fintech industry is really massive in Nigeria. They have one of the best from that region. Kenya too, they have a very, very good financial technology.
But how is the currency going on there? Let's say if you have a minimum wage in Germany, how much is the minimum wage? Let's say you earn here 2,000 euros.
8,000?
2,000?
2,000 euros.
And if you go with those 2,000...
earns 8,000 euros.
It's a lot of money, 8,000 euros. So if you go with those 2,000 euros to Kenya, how much can you buy there? Can you buy similarly to Germany? Can you buy more?
No, I don't think so. I'm not very familiar with the Kenyan economy,
Or in
so
Nigeria.
I can't speak on that. But in Nigeria, 2,000 euros would give you a lot of money. But that's the thing. Like I said, the African paradigm. You might have a lot of money, but it doesn't really get you much.
Only in the area.
In the area?
Yeah, only in Africa. So in the country that you are, if you're rich, then relatively to the country. But if you go outside the country, then you cannot do so much relatively to the world.
I don't know. The wealthy people from Nigeria, they're generally they're wealthy in dollars. So it's different from just being rich in your country. It's like a universal kind of economy that they've created for themselves. Like the richest black man in the world is from Nigeria. Like the top 10 people, like 7 of them are from Nigeria. And it's a poor country. So you imagine when they say the richest black man in the world, and then they make a top 10 list, and then you see like 6, 7, 8 Nigerians in that list. And then you wonder, so what's going on in this country? If they're that rich, why are they that poor? So
Corruption, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that brings me back to the small communities.
Yeah.
I think this is the solution for us.
I'm in favor of that, to be honest. I'm in favor of that. I think the people should decide how they want to do that. We don't need governments, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you think so?
No, we don't need governments.
We
need it on a
smaller.
We need it on a smaller scale.
Yeah, but I think people cannot really take care of themselves.
No, but communities are gonna decide. For example, if you're in a room with your friends, I don't know how it is with you, but I've noticed that in a group of friends, there is always one person who's like the leader. Nobody says he's our leader, but somehow you can see that he's the leader of this group. Or you see a group of girls, and then you can just tell that there is one woman there that seems to be like the leader of the pack.
The alpha.
Yeah. Like where I live in a block of flats like this, and there is one neighbor that sort of like is the leader of the of the thing. So whenever anything breaks down in the house, she's the one trying to mobilize people, trying to reach out to the real estate management, the management people. She's the one that's always sending information to everyone. Okay, this is gonna change from now on, or whenever we have to pay too much for electricity, and then she says, how much are you guys paying? You can just tell she's the one that's taking the lead on many things. So I feel like communities would evolve in that way, that you would just naturally see people taking responsibility for certain things.
Yeah, people really take care of
Yeah.
each other, of
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
This is tricky, as you mentioned.
It is tricky. It is tricky because the bigger it gets, then it turns out to be the same thing that we're fighting against.
Exactly. Like here in a big city as Berlin, you know, you can drop dead in the street and people.
Yeah, nobody would care.
Yeah, I think like after a while people would care, but then it's a big city, so you have. I mean, if you have 1% of shit, then in the city it's a lot of people because it's a lot of people.
It's a lot, yeah.
So you see it more often, and I think it kind of desensitize.
Yeah.
Sensitive. I don't know.
That's the right word.
Yeah,
Desensitized.
alright. So yeah, you become way less sensitive to those stuff, and then when something like this happens, and it might be a normal person who'll just pass out somehow, and you say, "Oh, it's a weird junkie, just an alcoholic guy, fucks his life." I don't care about him. He should go to school, study something, and do something with his life. But it can be someone. It can be someone's friends, you know, just a normal person. But
somebody's friend, somebody's child.
But then we don't care about it. And actually, this happened to a friend of mine. He
really?
passed out in an S-Bahn.
Oh.
I don't know what happened to him exactly. But he just...
And nobody cared.
Yeah, he was just passing out for a few moments, a few seconds, maybe half a minute or something like that. And then he woke up and people just normal. This is weird.
That's crazy.
And
That
also
is
places
crazy.
like New York. I never been there, but I heard you can do whatever you want. No one gives a fuck about you. For the good and for the bad.
Yeah, I mean,
And those people, how can we rely on them in a community?
no,
needs to
they
be
would
closer.
yeah, they would definitely be the followers. They wouldn't be the leaders.
Where did you grow up in the UK?
It's in the north of England. It's called Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about Yorkshire.
There's the dog, Yorkshire.
Yeah, there's the
Is the dog from there?
I assume so.
It used to be a wolf back
I
there.
assume so. Yeah.
Cool. And you've been there most of your life?
No, I've been everywhere actually. But a significant part of my childhood was spent over there. Yeah. And when I was much older, I lived in Nigeria.
For how long?
It's always been back and forth. It's really hard to track. It's always been back and forth.
Yeah, this is good to move around, to see new places,
Yeah.
to see how things develop with time.
Yeah.
You also have a crazy camera that you brought with you. Well, it looks crazy for me at least. You say it's the least crazy one that you have.
I know it's not the least crazy one that I have. But yeah, I guess it's a good camera.
Yeah, you also do videography.
Yeah, I run a media agency actually. Yeah. So
This is awesome.
yeah, I started in 2019, and I do a lot of creative work and media work for some of my clients.
And how you got into music? Both of them somehow are in wave together?
No, actually, no. I've been making music since 2003 or 4, 2004. I would say was the first time I wrote an actual song in 2004. Music is totally not related to the work that I do. I guess maybe in a way they work hand in hand together, but it wasn't the reason. That they're two inspired by two different things.
They definitely complement each other.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've seen your video, Sahara. It looks beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so now when you tell me that you do all those videos, it makes sense. That also the visual looks so good. It's a big part of
Unfortunately,
it.
I can't really make the standard of video that I want to make for myself.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, because
What prevents you from doing so?
I don't like to waste my time on things that are not. I mean, I call it a waste of time. Maybe it's really not a waste of time, but I just don't like to sit down with one particular thing for so long. So I try to rush things. Unlike when I do it professionally, I know I'm getting paid. I know I'm working with a lot of other people on the crew, on set. It's totally different from when I'm just doing my own personal thing. I don't want people to also, like the people that help me, I also don't want to bother them so much with my own needs like that. So I try to just rush things up. But yeah, I make do with what I have.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
We'll do whatever we can, do it the best as possible,
Yeah.
keep some good standards,
Yeah.
and just have a volume. Volume, that's the secret. You don't need to work hard for volume, but you need to have volume.
Yeah. Consistency
Yeah.
would definitely beat.
Consistency beats everything as well.
Yeah.
Man, and your new EP, Illuminati, is insane.
You call it Illuminati, right? I assume that people will call it Illuminati, but it's Illuminate.
Illuminate, Illuminate, true. I'm so
I
sorry
have no
about
affiliation with the Illuminati.
Illuminati.
Just putting that out.
Illuminate, yeah, it's like automatically.
I have no affiliation with that group.
All right, I'm glad that you made it clear.
Yeah.
Illuminate, yeah, now it makes even more sense.
Yeah.
But also Illuminati made sense with
Illuminati
the songs
makes
themselves.
sense, so.
Yeah, you talk a lot about the truth.
I try as
What
much
is
as
the
possible.
truth, man?
And that's the thing. What is the truth? I feel like everybody's in search of the truth every day, and the truth is not relative.
It's not relative.
It's not relative.
It
I think the
says-
truth is the truth. But I don't think we know what the truth is. I don't know. That it sounds kind of like conflicting.
Yeah.
I do believe that the truth is the truth, but I don't know if I know the truth yet.
Do you think the truth is conflicting within itself?
No, not the truth. Our pursuit of the truth, our chase of the truth is what is conflicting. I believe the truth is just on its own. It's just waiting for itself to be discovered.
And how do you know that this is the truth and not your mind fucking up with you?
And that's the limitation of the human mind
Yeah.
or humanity as a whole. I believe that is the limitation that we have to deal with. I don't believe in your truth, my truth, his truth. I think the truth is just central on one. But I don't know what it is.
It's the truth. Yeah, it's crazy. How did you get into those subjects? They're very deep stuff, and you do see that there is a trend of kind of woke that comes up slowly. But then
Yes.
you can really pay attention to who is talking bullshit and who is really talking from their hearts.
I guess so. Because when I started writing music, I had written poetry before then. So because I grew up Christian, I'm a Christian, and I read a lot of biblical books. I read a lot of Hebrew books. I read a lot of course, translated, which doesn't always do it justice. And more specifically was the hymn books that we sang in churches. So whenever I read the hymn books, I always looked at the pattern in which they were written and the arrangement, and I started noticing some commonalities between all of those songs, the way they were written. So they were written in stanzas or in verses. So that's really where I started learning how to write poetry. And I learned rhyming schemes from those books too. So when I started making my own music, it kind of helped me to navigate that craft better.
And music came afterwards?
Yeah, music came afterwards.
You had a lot of text. When then you thought, I need to put something to complement it.
Yeah.
And you make your own music as well?
Yeah, currently I make my own music, but when I started, of course, I was working with a producer. We were very close. He was an experienced producer at that time. I didn't know anything, so he was the one that really put me through, okay, this is how you deliver this, or, you're just a novice, you don't know anything, you just write songs and you think, it's good, and it's the producer's job to tell you, okay, after this you need to make a break, and then the chorus or a hook or a bridge has to come in, and so I kind of learned all of that from him. And so years later, I started trying my hands on producing. And I think 2010 was the first time that I actually thought, okay, maybe I'm a producer. So, because before then I'd been producing my own songs, but I never let people call me a producer because I thought it's such a big label for you to put on yourself, like a producer. Do you know what that really means? But after some time, I was comfortable enough to say, okay, yeah, I'm a producer. Yeah. So the new EP, I also produced that.
Do you also play the piano there?
I'm not trained, but I play everything by ear.
So the playing is you, the singing is you, everything is you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
The piano got some interesting sounds.
It does.
I really like what you did with the effects there. Yeah, let's go with a little bit with the songs. There are 5 songs in this EP.
Yes.
And the song names are grandiose by their names. Even before you listen to them. And when you listen to them, they go really deep. So the first one is called Sons of Darkness.
Yeah, Sons of Darkness. That was the first one I wrote. I wrote it over a year ago, but I just put it aside because I didn't know what to do with it. So
It was only text.
no, I recorded it actually. I recorded it, but I didn't finish it. I just put it there because it was supposed to be mixed. I recorded it with a microphone and I didn't like the way it sounded, so I was discouraged. I just put it aside. So when I started making the EP, I re-recorded Sons of Darkness, and then I made the other ones too. Yeah.
It started from Sons of Darkness.
Yeah, that was the very first one I wrote.
Cool. And what was the inspiration behind it? Do you want to listen to it now and then talk about it, or?
However you want us to.
I give you the opportunity to present your songs as you wish. For those who are listening now, basically we're going to do a session of hearing or talking and then hearing, but we're going to go song by song. And so you also will have the opportunity to hear all the songs. Yeah, so let's hear it.
Okay. From darkness we come, in it we were conceived. We're pilgrims marking our progress with each ring of the abyss. We inhabit our journey isn't measured in miles or kilometers. Ideally it would be in luminance, but when do we ever get to experience that? So we measure circumstances that seem to foreshadow a ray of hope, an event of some sort that doesn't necessarily cloak us in an outburst of hysteria, but makes our hearts go from 100 to 60 BPM. We're children of the sun but can't harness that power, so we light fires with broomsticks. When our lanterns are out of oil and our patterns are made from toil, we see the constants take away our voice. That's why what matters to us the most is our joy. Cause when the bears don't kill us, and the wolves don't kill us, and the snakes don't kill us, and the soldiers don't kill us, and the chiefs and the gods and the colonialists don't kill us, this fume certainly will. So when you see us dancing to the beat of our hearts, and harmonizing and hitting the falsettos with the pain our souls compose, no, it's not because we're different, not because we're special, we're just dealt a different fate. So we were given shades in our skins, for we'll have no shades. And we were given soul in our music, cause this wicked world will rob us of our souls. And the rhythm was to cherish this little moments of freedom, and the blues was to prepare us for the blues and the gospel. That was just to make disciples out of us. And the reggae goes a little something about unifying us, and the funk, I've got to be honest with you, I have no rationalizations for that. So let me just say this one more time. When you see us dancing to the beat of our hearts, and harmonizing and hitting the falsettos with the pain our souls compose, no, it's not because we're different. It's not because we're special. We're just dealt a different fate. Because we're sons of darkness.
It's powerful stuff.
Thank you.
If I got it right, basically the way that we dance and we show our life force is because we went into darkness.
Yes. But beyond that, the track actually has two different meanings. There is a literal meaning to it, and there is a figurative, metaphorical meaning to it. I wrote the song because I don't know how maybe you're aware of power cuts, but in West Africa, in Africa, electricity blackout is a thing. So there are many times where you don't have electricity and you just have to live in the darkness, or you light candles and lanterns or lamps with oil and stuff
in big
like
cities as well.
Yeah, it's like that.
Every day?
No, not every day. Not every day. So in a day, sometimes you could have sometimes up to 10 hours of no electricity, of just a complete blackout.
Crazy.
So this is really what really inspired it. It's literally about that we were born in darkness. A lot of us are conceived in that, and we grew up not knowing any better. And so when we grow up, we get used to some of this darkness, but it's not really the right way to live. But you just don't know any different. You don't know any better. So, for example, on the track, I also said something like, we're children of the sun, but we can't harness that power. It's basically talking about solar energy because Africa has abundance of sun. Why don't we have solar technology to power our electric grids? You understand? So we're children of the sun, but we can't harness that power. So we light fires with broomsticks when our lanterns are out of oil and our patterns are out of... I don't remember the part of it. But it's basically just saying, why can't we just create a solution around this darkness? How do you find light out of a dark situation? And so beyond the literal meaning of it, it's also talking about how dark the world is and how you have to navigate your way out of that darkness into the light. You have tools, you have everything, you have the skill set and the competencies for you to actually make your own life better, to be enlightened, basically, to be aware and conscious of certain things, which is what the new kids will call woke, I guess.
The hippie culture. Yeah, I really relate to that. That's why I thought, the lower you go in your life, the more potential you can achieve.
Yeah.
And there is a great bliss in pain.
There is. It's never sweet at the moment, but
never.
Eventually, if you keep at it, it will.
But that's the thing. If you train your mind, that the moment that you feel all those horrible feelings and sensations that comes with pain, instead of treating it as negative, we can be excited about it.
Yeah.
And then it's different.
I know it's easier to say. When you're actually living in that moment, it's very difficult. But if you can just keep at it, it changes you for the better eventually.
Yeah. There are ways you can do it physically as well, I think.
Yeah.
One of them is sport.
Sport, for example, it's never easy. That's why a lot of people are not fit, because they don't have the discipline to go through it, because your body is really telling you to stop.
Yeah.
And it is on you to train your body to say, no, you will keep going.
Yeah, make the body servant to the mind and not vice versa.
Yeah.
And this is so interesting because this is the conflict of being a human.
Yeah.
We want to rest. We want to have the relief. But when it happens, we start to be depressed.
Yeah.
We need a movement. We need a struggle. We need the challenges. This is what makes us grow. But when it doesn't happen, because we want to just not move, we want to come in the end of the day, watch Netflix.
Netflix and chill.
Yeah, drink a beer, smoke a joint, have a pizza. Pizza is tasty. We like pizza. If you do a week like that without moving, if you do a month like that, a year like that.
A year like that, that's dangerous.
Yeah,
that's really dangerous.
You realize at age of 40, I've been most of my life like that.
Yeah. And on the other side, there are 40-year-olds who look very young. They're fit, they're agile, their minds work properly.
Yeah, man.
And then you also have 40-year-olds who already look like 60-year-olds. And then you think, how come they are that?
Yeah, I think now it's like a minority, those who look young at the age of 40 or 50.
It's a minority?
Those who really take care of themselves. Yeah. It used to be the standard. Yeah. Because everything used to be good, everything used to be natural, and the more we get with technology, the more globalized we became. Yeah. The cheaper things became, then the shittier also our lifestyle became.
It became worse.
Yeah, there is no way I'm buying some sausages and €1 from whatever market it is, and it's good for me.
It's very difficult for you to convince me that something that's that cheap. I don't always believe in expensive things, but when it has to do with things that go into your body, you're right. You cannot buy a sausage for €1 and you think that thing is doing anything for you.
Yeah.
No.
And then you buy all the sweets. This is one of the most destructive things. Sugar.
It is. Thank you. Finally, somebody who agrees with me.
Sugar is fucking addictive.
It's too much sugar in the world, man.
It's the biggest drug.
We need to cut it out.
We need to write down, like on cigarettes, the danger of sugar.
It's going to kill you.
It is killing you slowly. If it doesn't kill you, it gives you diabetes. And if you keep on doing that, it will give you Alzheimer. It will fuck you up.
Oh, sugar is...
it's evil.
You're right. It's a drug, but we don't treat it as that.
No.
We think it's just... Especially when they give it to children. They say, let them have it. It's just a child. My parents didn't raise me on sugary things. Black people don't really eat sweet things like that. So.
Do you think so?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
Black people don't. I'm not saying there aren't any who do. I think some do, but in general, it'll be hard for you to see it. Just invite your black friends and put a bunch of cakes in the room. They're gonna eat the least of the cakes. They will, and I can put my money on it.
Interesting.
They will eat the least of
I will
it.
try that.
Oh, try it.
In Middle Eastern culture, there is sugar everywhere.
Really?
You know, like a baklava. What is baklava? It's dough,
Yeah, it's a
and then you
baklava
put
too.
like
Yeah.
a syrup on top of it. Or you have knafe, man. It's the same. You put like a cheese with sugar, then you put some dough with sugar. You put some really sweet tea on top of it.
Yeah, but that you don't eat it every day, do you?
What do you mean, man? Of course,
You eat it every day.
it's there. It's part of the culture.
I mean, yeah, we have sweet things back home too, but it's not like they. Look, for example, imagine you wake up, you eat toast with Nutella and some jam,
Yeah.
and then break time, you go get yourself a milkshake that's really a lot of sugar in that. And then for lunch, what do? You go eat something, and then you have some dessert that is crazy sweet. And then when you get back home, you want to chill, or you take some Ben and Jerry's or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Some ice cream, and then you eat that. And then you have dinner. And what do you do after dinner? You have another dessert, and some chocolates. And no, you cannot live like that. From morning till night, all sugar.
Yeah, this is, I think, the standard.
Yeah, this is
menu.
the standard. Yeah, it's standard actually
I
in
think
Europe.
it's one of the worst things to open the day with coffee and croissant. Like to open the day something that is
Yeah.
not fat. It's not even necessary to have a breakfast, I think.
I've not had breakfast in years now. I don't do breakfast anymore, and you get used to it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you get used to it. For some people, they just can't go without
get
breakfast,
angry.
and I understand that if that's how you live your life. But I think skipping breakfast good, or fasting in general. I know fasting is a thing in the Middle East as well, culturally and religiously too.
Yeah, now you have the Ramadan coming in.
Yeah, and it disciplines your body, disciplines your mind.
Yes. it
If it's
cleans
at
your
least just
body.
that Ramadan time in a year, even if it's just that one time in a year, yeah, you replenish your body. You get out the toxins. You stop eating a bunch of junk. You discipline your mind and your body for
Yeah.
a few days. I think you need more, but if that's just a little that you do, it can go a long way.
Yeah, and it's very not comfortable.
No, it's never comfortable.
It's never comfortable, but there is big bliss in that.
Yeah, there is.
There is a stem cell generation that occurs after 48 hours of
that so?
fasting. Stem cells. You know what is a stem cell?
Yeah, but I never heard about that.
After
So
48
that happens.
hours of fasting, completely water fasting,
You produce new.
the body produces more and more. It's not like a switch, it's more like a dimmer. So the more you fast, the more it goes to that. Also, the body produces more growth hormone while you're fasting. It basically, there is something, what is it called? I forgot the name. But basically what it does, the cells know which one is healthy and which one is a bit damaged.
Oh, okay.
And when you're fasting, the body is in a starving mode. So the body says, oh, we don't have food there, so we're going to use our own body, our own energy. And then it starts with those cells who are a little bit damaged. And I seen it's a documentary, it's called The Science of Water Fasting, I think, or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's on YouTube, free for everybody. And they show you people who have cancer. Some of them have advanced cancer. And it also happens here in Germany. You have a place where you go and you do water fasting for a week. It's a medical place. It's a resort, actually.
Oh, okay.
So it's very peaceful. You have greens around you and trees and nature. And you see a nurse coming with the... what is it called?
A tray?
A tray, exactly, with glasses of water. And this is the medicine that she hands to the people who are there in their retreat.
Whoa.
And it helps them a lot, even with chemotherapy. What they said is that the moment they go to the chemotherapy, if they fast before, so those cells are strong because they're in starving mode, they kind of protect themselves. So the chemotherapy is go more for those cells who are damaged, who cannot protect themselves because they are not healthy.
They're not, yeah.
And this is insane. How much does it cost you?
Well,
0.
yeah, but we like the pharma industry
What?
because
Man.
they're making money off our sicknesses, you know.
But now it's out there, you know. I think people will start to go there a bit more into fasting and into eating less.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works, why not?
We eat so much also.
Oh, we eat too much. Like, maybe I shouldn't be the one saying that, because, but I do believe that we eat too much. I believe our generation might be the most comfortable generation that has ever lived. We have everything at the tip of our fingers.
Yes.
We have technology that just does everything for us. So it takes a little bit of effort for you to actually do something, because life is so easy.
Yeah.
You need discipline to actually get you to do things.
Yeah.
You need discipline to stop you from eating food. You need discipline.
Because it's so available right now.
Yeah, because it's available. So why not? You just eat it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you wanted to go to find something to eat back then, you need to go and find a tree.
You gotta kill a lion yourself.
Kill a lion, yeah.
You gotta fight a lion.
Yeah, imagine this. This is crazy. I've seen this documentary about mammals, and in the end they showed like the humans, they showed monkeys and apes, and then they came to the humans. And then they showed this tribe, it's African tribe, and they still hunting today, but they hunt in a very special way. They find whatever they want to hunt, but they don't kill it, they chase it. They chase it until the animal is tired.
Wow.
And that's it. It just falls down, and then they kill it. But before they kill it, they put their hand on the animal, they thank it, they pray on the animal.
Wow.
Yeah, very respectful thing to do. But man, they're like 6-8 hours, I think they were chasing the animal.
And that's exhausting. That's exhausting.
And also I heard about another tribe in Africa, and they're also hunter-gatherers, so everything they do is like people used to do before
Back in the
technology.
days, yeah.
And they're so healthy. They're healthy. You see people 80, 90 years old with energy like kids. And there was also a podcast about that. A good friend of mine sent it to me. If you want, I can share it with you.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
I can share it also with everybody. It will be in the Buzzsprout feed somewhere there in the bottom. And they said that what they do, they just smoke a little bit of ganja that grows there, naturally grows, and then they go like 4 or 5 hours to hunt. So they get high, and then they go to hunt.
They're hunting on a high.
The woman that was there, the scientist, she said they don't need any water.
Wow.
They don't need water. They just do that without drinking water, and it's hot, and you have sun on your head, and they with like as they are with their own skin. Crazy.
It's
That's the difference,
Yeah.
And here you have people who cannot go up the stairs.
and some of them are quite young. They're not even like
man.
80-year-olds.
Let's go with the second song,
Okay.
which is it's a Phoenix.
Yeah, the second song is called Phoenix.
Phoenix is very, very, very beautiful concept.
You mean the ideology or the mythology or
I know the mythology about the creature that
Yeah.
burns himself and then from the ashes he's
Yeah.
rising again.
yeah.
What is the ideology about it?
No, it's literally tied together, the mythology. It births a new kind of a way of thinking. Like you said before, pain, sometimes it is good. And so when there is death, there is new life. When there is a sadness, there is joy. Where there is pain, there is comfort. Where there is poverty, there is wealth. Where there is just this spectrum of things. And like you said, in the myth, the phoenix has to die for a new one to come. It has to burn to the ground.
And what's going on in the song?
In the song is referring to the common man, the working class, as the phoenix. The concept behind it is that sometimes we have to go through very uncomfortable situations for us to come out at the other end where there is pride and glory. And so when people get so comfortable, or when they're afraid of dying, or when we're afraid of pain, when we're afraid of suffering, it's not a precursor for growth. I think growth always requires discomfort.
Yeah.
And that's what the song is about. and it's also referring to the working class as people who have become so content with our lives. And for example, me personally, I think that when people protest, it doesn't achieve things. You're going to protest a government that you don't like. For example, there is the election going on in Nigeria right now, the presidential election, and there's a lot of political violence at the moment. And so when I compare that with how people protest and say, okay, we don't want this government, we want to overthrow this, or we want more money, and then people protest, it's basically a one day of raising up flags, and then you go to the government and say, give me a permit to protest. You want to protest the government and you need a permission from them to protest them. It's not making any sense to me. Sometimes violence is the answer. Sometimes dialogue is the answer, but we need to know when violence is the answer. I'm not going to say I don't like the way you're treating me and I'm going to come to you and ask for permission for me to protest you. It doesn't sound right to me. And so sometimes you just need to see what you want and take it with violence, take it with force, make yourself, I don't mean literal violence now, but I mean like being assertive on what you want. Yeah, and so that's what the track's about.
Cool. Let's hear it. Phoenix.
I have sunken into the abyss of human validation, and you are falling into a dungeon on your way to self-restoration. Buried deep underneath the rubble, I lay. And you were consumed by the inferno. You burn. But let me ask you this. What do you know about the birds? More specifically, what do you know about the phoenix? Cause everywhere I turn to are men of ill intent, and we're the ones that burn through to make it to the end. We give every part of us our blood, our sweat and our tears, but trust this capitalist to make pounds and pence of our fears. But I shall ask you this. What do you know about the phoenix? See, every step taken is towards the gravest of yards, and we don't deserve it when the coolest, the bravest of hearts. Cause pain makes or breaks, but in most cases it shatters into pieces every weak link, so we have to toughen up. Still I ask you this. What do you know about the phoenix? It's like we are connected by the same vessel. By the virtue of the struggle, we all bleed the same. I'm feeling your heartbeat across the Atlantic as you're feeling Vanessa's over the Mediterranean. This is a network of the common man, bound by the same similarly impossible mission of breaking free from the piercing clutch of the oppressors of our souls. And I don't mean it poetically when I say we are everybody and nobody. Everywhere and nowhere. Everything and absolutely nothing. This is Mama Africa's invisible umbilical, connecting babies from Kathmandu to Caracas. In unison we possess the ruggedness of Nigerian soldiers, the wisdom of King Solomon and the beauty of a golden pheasant. This is the moment we rise from the ashes of our predecessors, from the hellhole of their negligences. Don't sell me pacifism. I want the sword and the dichotomy it represents. Cause violence begets violence, and cowardice doesn't win wars. So leave me be and let me burn to the ground, cause only then and only then do I come alive. What do you know about the phoenix?
What do you know about the phoenix?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is strong stuff. Also, the delivery that you bring there, it's powerful.
Thank you.
How did you record those songs? It was one take, or did you record them a few takes?
No, it was mostly one take. I tried to not record in multiple takes. I tried to do everything from top to bottom. So that's how I did it. I recorded, but of course I do multiple takes. I recorded like 5 times or 6 times, sometimes up to 20 times, and I just select which one is the best one out of them.
And you take the full take?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I have it written down, so I just basically recite into the microphone multiple times.
I think this is also a good technique.
I mean, I think whatever works for anyone, it's just what works for me. Because I find there is an inconsistency in my voice that I don't like. So when I say something 1 minute and then 1 minute later I say the same thing, it always sounds so different, like two different people to me.
Yeah, true.
So,
the intention is different.
Yeah, so I always try to just do it from like a whole stretch so that it sounds coherent or cohesive, if you will. Some people are actually good at imitating their own voice. I'm not. I say things now and then I say the same thing 2 seconds later, or maybe it's just me, but I perceive it that it sounds different. So I always try to just do everything at once.
For me, with my journey with singing, I realized that the art of singing is also to know how to make the emotions, but
Yes.
Just acting those emotions.
Yeah.
Like what kind of sounds I can make with my voice
Yeah.
that somehow imitates a certain emotion.
Yeah. And you don't always get it right, so you have to, just keep doing it until you get that emotion.
The real obsessive singers, they just practice one vowel again and again and again and again and again. And it works when you have this control.
It does work. It does work.
Yeah, like Christina Aguilera. She can make me feel stuff when she's singing. Sia, she's also one of those
Sia.
singers. She's so powerful.
Yes, yes, good.
Yeah, and I wonder how much they really feel, but how much they really practiced on.
But that's the thing because for them it's a job, and if you're employed, for example, and you do a certain work, you want to do it to the best of your ability, and it's their profession. This is how they actually make money. This is how they eat. So they have to be. It's not hobby. It has to be perfect.
Yeah,
and I believe that's what, like you said, some of them are crazy obsessive, but. If that's what you're supposed to do, come on, man. It's like saying a basketball player knows how to play. What did you expect? Like saying, a football player, he knows how to play football. What else? He's been paid to play football. He should be good at it.
it's the grind, I think, that makes us better or worse than others. The more we grind, the better we get. And consistency.
Yeah,
that's the ultimate consistency.
Yeah. I believe Michael Jackson was like that too. He was very obsessive, always rehearsed.
Yes. Have you seen the documentary that Spike Lee made on Michael Jackson?
Is it out?
He made two ones. One he made from Off the Walls, and one he made for Bad.
I heard about it, but I didn't know that it was actually...
Yeah,
Is it good?
It's amazing.
Oh.
I think there are 2-3 hours, maybe something like that. Full of good stuff. If you're a Michael Jackson fan, if you appreciate those who do and break the boundaries, it's a must see. It's like the Michael Jordan
too.
And this documentary is insane. Every time I feel I need some fuel,
I've not been able to watch that, but I've heard people say very, very positive stuff about it.
Yeah, this is the ultimate example of someone with willpower and passion that he just takes people with him. He went to Chicago Bulls. It was a bunch of people who just played basketball just to meet up. They were doing they were smoking in the locker room. They were doing some cocaine.
Yeah.
Really not professional.
Not professional at all.
And then he came and he thought, oh, you're doing nothing. What the fuck is this? I will do it myself. And then you see him like scoring 70 points in a game. One person. This is insane.
And that's the same thing they say about Kobe Bryant. A lot of the NBA players, they always said he was just a beast. He never took any time off.
Yeah, man.
They said he was always in the gym. Whenever they were eating in the restaurant, he was just always practicing. I remember Allen Iverson saying that he had the chance to become Kobe Bryant, but he didn't because I didn't train as much as he trained. That's what he said. He said he could have become Kobe, but that dude just trains non-stop. And Allen Iverson was really wild in his days. I remember, one of these rappers said he went to the club with Allen Iverson and he has to play the next morning. And Iverson he goes to the club. He's naturally gifted, but you cannot always rely on your natural talent. Sometimes you need to work on it and make yourself better.
I think your talent gets you so far.
It gets you so far.
Then
Hard
you
work.
reach a brick
Yeah.
wall, and you have to find the
Yeah.
discipline to break it.
Yeah.
And it's not as disciplined as we might think sometimes, you know? It can be extra 5 minutes.
It could be. Yeah.
This extra 5 minutes a day,
Mm.
it can be so powerful in the long run.
Yeah.
If you make it extra half an hour
Yeah.
every day, then you really
It's the quality
accelerate.
actually. It's not even how long. It's the quality of that extra 5 minutes.
Yeah, quality is very important, definitely. But sometimes it's just do it, just grind it. It's not about the quality. Just grind it.
Just grind.
Just grind. You know, sometimes my brain is not functioning at all, and I don't want to think so much. But I still
You
need
have
to
to.
keep my skills in balance and to keep them maintained.
Yeah.
So what I like to do a lot, I like to take a guitar and I just watch some YouTubes and just grind the guitar, man. I don't think about it. I just practice. I do some just to move my fingers, just to move the muscles, to get them used to the fact that we're playing. Don't rest. And just by doing that, even if it's completely mindless and I don't care what I'm playing, it keeps me really in my skills. It keeps my skills sharp. Just this half an hour a day. Also with vocals, I noticed if I do like warm-ups, there's all those warm-ups on YouTube or Spotify, 15 minutes a day. This is one of the biggest boosts someone can do for their own voice. Just 15 minutes a day, warm-up. That's it. But it's easy to do, right?
It's, I mean, it comes
Only
back.
15 minutes.
It comes down to discipline. That 15 minutes can be a lot. It could really be a lot when you're just not in the mood.
Yeah. And this is where medicine starts to be counted and to measure up. And
So you sing too, right?
yes.
I thought you rapped.
Yeah, there I rapped. I'm better at rapping because it's not singing.
Oh, okay.
Singing is new to me.
Oh, okay.
It's a journey. It's a crazy journey. And I said it many times, but I will say it again. I always thought that you either were born as a good singer or not.
You think so?
That's what I thought. It's like you're born with curly hair. I'm born with the blue eyes, whatever. I was born with big fingers.
I don't think singing is like that, to be honest. I think talents work a little differently. I don't know.
Yeah, when I realized that, it broke some mental barrier that I have in my mind. And a lot of things that I did not think were possible in different aspects of my life, all of a sudden became possible. Because if I thought that physically I'm not able to sing, I don't have a good voice, and then, I sing, I like it, it sounds good. What else can I do?
Yeah. Yeah. It inspires you to want to do more.
Yeah, I think it's more than knowing. I know that whatever is impossible is possible.
Yeah. I don't believe in impossibilities. I think that our very human nature is limited. There are certain things that we cannot achieve or accomplish, but you will be surprised at the things that we can also accomplish. Like you mentioned earlier before that we're here sitting, talking into a microphone and a recorder. This is the crazy idea of somebody who thought, I'm going to develop a microphone.
Yes.
And I'm sure if our ancestors look at where we are today, they would not believe the things that
I just had this thought 2 days ago.
They will not believe what we have done.
2 days ago, I went down in the street and some guy was passing by, and he was talking. And, like first thought, is he talking to me? But then I saw like he was holding a phone, talking with someone, and he had a Bluetooth, had earpiece, whatever it's called. This is insane.
It is insane.
If you show to our ancestors 500 years ago,
Imagine somebody from 500 years ago.
man, it's like they
would
would
just
burn
think-
them 500 years ago.
What is that? What is he doing? Why is he
If
talking?
it was a woman, for sure she would get burned. Man, what the fuck? Kind of witchcraft. How can you talk with someone?
Yeah.
And also right now, at this very moment, there are frequencies in the air
Yeah.
of radio.
Yeah. Radio waves.
There is music around us, or information around us. We just are not tuned with the right tools to receive it.
To receive it.
And I think there is way more actually
Yeah.
around us, and we have the tools biologically to be tuned there.
Yes, we have. I believe so. It's just, it takes work. It takes work. And that's the part that a lot of us run away from. I run away from it too sometimes. It takes a lot of work to accomplish certain things. And I don't think, it's my personal belief, that there is nothing you cannot learn. I believe in gifts and talents, but I also believe that there is nothing the human mind wants to accomplish that it cannot accomplish.
Yeah, I agree. Just the nature of us imagining stuff makes it possible.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we could not imagine this.
It might take a lot of time before we accomplish it, but it usually is possible to accomplish anything.
Also about time, this is our decision.
Yeah.
If we want to take more time to accomplish it or less.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a lot of tweaking, a lot of trial and error that has to happen before. With the whole you mentioned about singing. I think that if you were born into a musical family, the chances of you knowing how to sing is very high.
That was your thought, your belief.
I believe that's the case. If you're born into a musical family, your chances are high because you've been hearing it and you're around it and you can figure out the key elements of certain music. For example, if I wanted to write music, the first thing I do is I try to listen to that genre of music many times consecutively, and I try to figure out what the key element is. So, for example, if I wanted to make hip hop, all I have to do is notice, okay, they use 808s and they use these slides on 808s, and then they have this particular drum patterns that they use. It's easier when you figure that out. Or when you take reggae as an example, there is a lot of guitar in reggae. When you think about classical music, there's a lot of piano and violins or orchestra music involved in that. When you think about rock, there's a lot of electric guitar used. Once you can figure out these key elements and you can figure out time patterns and sequences, it becomes easier to be able to manipulate or create. But does that mean you're naturally gifted at it? I don't think so. But you can.
To be naturally gifted at analyzing what is...
creating music.
Creating.
Yeah.
Music is something that is very unique.
It's unique.
It's unique, but
it's also very... Yeah, there's nothing like music, but I think music is something that's with the help of technology today, I think you can have no talent whatsoever and still create good music.
Definitely. Especially now with the rise of AI.
Especially now.
It's getting crazy. Have you seen the Google AI?
It's scary what these machines can do, man.
Wow. It sounds really good what they do now, what is capable of happening now. You really hear a song, I think it was the Google Music AI. It's not published yet, or it was not published at the time I watched the video. And what he did like he played some club music. And he said play 60s club music, and it just generates you a 60s club music, and then 70s, and you hear it. Sounds like the 70s.
This is what I was trying to tell you, that there are key elements, and then once you can figure that out, it's easier to navigate.
Yeah, exactly. Even now without AI, it's very easy because you can take a loop, and then you can take some keys and some melody, you just match the right musical key. You match the right rhythm, the right BPM, and that's it.
Yeah.
Then you can do whatever you want. If you sound a bit off, you can fix it.
You can fix it.
Yeah, there is no excuse.
You know, it's unimaginable the things
what we can do.
Yeah.
But then also the one of the biggest challenges is how can you stand out in a world where everyone are good?
That's where I believe hard work and consistency comes. I think that we can all be talented and very good. It's the person who works hard the most that would eventually get the shine, in my opinion.
There is truth in that. I think also we need to make a distinguish between working hard and working smart.
Yes, there is a difference between working hard and working smart. But I just think, like you said, you have the tools, I have the tools, they have the tools of creating something. If I'm feeling lazy today and I choose not to make music, they have 1 day up on me.
This is true.
And then if I make that 1 day 2 days, they have 2 days up on me. And then maybe next year I take another 2 days off. So in the span of 10 years, you will realize that person that continued to do it, even though they might not have your level of talent, people would know them better than they know you, because you are not very consistent and you're not very hardworking at it.
Yeah, it's very true about it. Yeah. They show up.
Yeah, to show up.
That makes a big difference. Even if you feel like shit, show up.
Yeah, just do it. It's what I said Kobe always did.
Yeah,
He just always trained, whether he liked it or not. He disciplined himself, and he was one of the greatest.
exactly. But not all the people want to achieve that. It's something that I'm learning always in the hard way. Because I want, in my head at least, I want to achieve the best I can. If it's a song, I want it to sound the best as possible. I want the production to be interesting as possible. I want every second something will grab you.
Is that why you're holding on to that album?
Yeah.
That's why you're holding on to it.
Holding on, man, for years.
You dropped that album, bro.
I will drop that album. It would be embarrassing to drop it right now.
Why?
I don't like autotune so much, and it takes work. It takes work to put the vocals
together.
first on the notes and then on the right intention. But I let a lot of spontaneous.
Spontaneous.
The spontaneous spirit, I let it come a lot. So sometimes it can just happen that this text specifically was good, and I'm all right. It's good enough. I would say if it's 70% good, then it's good enough, and it's okay. And usually people don't really pay attention to that,
No, it's because you criticize yourself harder than everyone else does.
Exactly.
I think that's the curse of the artist. The artist critiques himself way worse than every other person does. You hear things in your own voice that nobody hears, and you're worried about it.
You know what you feel at the moment
Yeah.
that you made these noises or whatever you did. And photography really helped me just with stopping when it's enough and just let it go. Photography, you cannot do another take.
No, you can't.
You take the photo and this
You
is
have
the
one
moment.
chance at it. Yeah.
And also music, if you go for it in the same way, I think it's also, this is the moment. And we kind of recording it right now, we're making a different snapshot. But this is the snapshot of this very moment.
Yeah.
The album will be dropped soon. Yeah, but you dropped an album, which is amazing. It's an EP. And I would like to go to the third song.
Okay.
And this is one of my favorite tracks. A monologue about money.
Yeah, I wrote that. I think I've written this a long time ago too, but I never recorded it. It was just in my drafts somewhere. And it wasn't meant to be poetry, because the others, they have like a structure of poetry. This one did not, and that's why I called it a monologue. It's basically a rant. It's just me just saying what was in my head and just trying to get it off. And maybe all of the things I say are not factually correct. I don't want anyone to quote me on any of that, but
Not the financial advice.
Yeah, it's just a rant.
Anything else you would like to add?
Maybe we should listen to it first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Money's an illusion, and money's only worth as much as we say it's worth. You see that £50 note safely tucked in the insides of your wallet? It's only as valuable as the institutions that govern and regulate your money say it is. I mean, what's really the difference between a 50 and 100? The cost of producing the tenner, a 50 or 100 are all probably the same. Only difference is the number printed on it. So if you're wondering how the governments profit off you, there you have your answer. They make you pay money for money and then take back the money from you after it's doubled or tripled or quadrupled or whatever comes after that. Let's just put this into context. They print a 50 at the cost of 10 pennies. You toil to earn that 50 and then save it in your bank. You think you have 50, but its true worth is 10 pence. Now the bank has successfully conned you to help increase its total reserve by 40,000%. What kind of racketeering is going on here? Before the financial patriarch Rothschild took over the global finance world and influenced what will become today's banking system, what exactly did we earn? Well, people only cared for their needs and were apparently less greedy than we are today. Consumerism is killing America, yo. Some people traded by barter, a direct transaction of goods and services in exchange for other goods and services without using money as a medium of exchange. And now money has gone virtual, something I'm not even sure is real or should be legal in any way. They display a bunch of zeros on your mobile screens. You got a million screen, but you don't. You ever try to walk into a bank and then ask to get your money back in cash and see what hell they make you go through? It's because they don't have it themselves. That's why I don't believe in money as a measure of wealth. Such a useless thing to have. a worthless gift to give anyone. If I give you 10 euros now, yeah, you get a burger and that's it. That's it. Because 2 hours later, you're hungry again, especially if you're like Isaac. So money will buy you some security, but never peace. It will get you treatment, but never health. Money will buy you admiration, but never friendship. It will get you some comfort, but never immortality. Some time, but never eternity. So however you want to slice this pie, just know that the money you think you possess is an illusion, and the rich and mighty made it so. Yes, that's that. I like...
Money is an illusion.
I believe it's an illusion. I don't know how people see it, but I think society just decided one day to just make up something that we will call money, and we will trade with it because it's easier to trade when there is money. But I think this maybe people think I'm a socialist because I think most of the views that I expressed in in this song is a little bit of a socialist view, but I'm actually not a socialist. It feels like I'm attacking capitalism, but I do think that capitalism is good. I think every system has its own flaws and its own limitations. But I think this capitalist movement of just money eventually finishes, it ends. Because it's just a piece of paper that some people agreed to print and put a number on it and say it's going to worth 500 or 100 or 20 or 5. It's just paper. And when I was writing this, I was doing my research, and I actually found out that in the UK, they print a pound for 10 pence. So that's the cost to produce one note. It costs 10 pence to produce. So whether it's £5 or £50 or £20, it costs approximately the same amount of money to produce. So imagine you run a retail company and you sell, let's just say you sell shoes, for example, and it costs you 10 pence, or in Europe, let's say 10 cents to produce a shoe, and you're selling it for 50. You're making a whole lot of money from that. And this is literally the business of the bank. This is what the banks are there to do. They produce money by at a very low cost, and they decide how much goes on it, and then you think you have that money, but in reality, if we're looking at the value of it, the cost is just really 10 pennies. And so when you save your money in the bank, they use that to grow their own assets, their own total reserve. They call it reserve. So it helps it to evaluate the bank. So when we say some banks have a lot of money, some banks don't have a lot of money, it's actually not actual money. It's just the value that has been ascribed to money. And that's what I was trying to express on this. And also with the whole people doing things to just make money. I think money is just stupid. I have had money, but money ends if you don't use it to acquire something that has value. Money really has no value. So all of the, before Germany, for example, embraced the euro, they were spending Deutschmark. What happened with the people who had lots of Deutschmark?
I think they had the chance to exchange it.
They had a chance to exchange, but not at the same value. It wasn't a direct conversion rate.
They probably. In India, sometimes they just cancel notes.
I never even heard about that. But if they canceled notes, the same thing is going on in Nigeria now. They're changing the currency. So people who, like politicians who stole money, they have to bring the money back to change it for the new one. So that's how they're really getting the corrupt politicians, because they just changed the money. At that point, when the currency is changed, that money that you had, it might be billions or whatever, it really means nothing anymore. It's just paper. They burn it.
Yeah, it's a paper that is very difficult to do a fake copy of it, basically. But then it's not the paper, it's more like what is standing behind the paper.
The value.
Yes. How much do I trust in the American government that I can put my trust in the dollar or the EU?
Yeah.
And this is what it represents. But also Yeah, that's the only thing it represents, how much we trust them now.
Yeah.
Used to be backed by gold.
It used
But
to be
no more, but
yeah, but
percentages.
gold has actual value.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Or when you talk about real estate or land in general, land has value.
Exactly.
If they take away the euros today and we don't have money anymore, somebody who has a house would make a lot of money or would still survive. Those of us who have just a little bit of money, how are we going to survive? So I do believe that real asset is not money. It is things that are valuable like gold, like you mentioned, like agriculture produce.
Yes.
Because when this world crashes, it's people who can produce agricultural goods and can sell it. And those are the ones that would have a real leveraging power in the marketplace, not people
Definitely.
with money. Because money would mean nothing eventually.
Yeah, what money helps you if you cannot buy food?
Exactly.
That's the thing, if you needed to go and hunt to be good back then,
Yeah.
today you need to go to work.
Yeah. Today.
And that's
Yeah,
the same thing.
it's the same.
That's the
You're right.
hunting.
Yeah, it's the hunting. You're basically hunting
Yeah.
for your daily
We
food.
cannot escape from our primitive roots.
Yeah.
It's impossible. We find ways to tweak it. We find ways to maybe sometimes tell ourselves those stories that we're not animals.
Yeah.
We're sitting here wearing clothes, talking language,
Yeah.
not killing each other or whatever.
I mean, we still kill each other.
Yeah. Oh, we're civilized here in this room at least.
We're civilized.
Yeah. Oh, if you go in the street here, you can see they're very different. Yeah, this place, Hermannstraße in Berlin, it can be rough. The whole U8, the whole U-Bahn, this line, it can be a very rough place. Lots of homeless and junkies.
Wow.
Yeah.
So imagine these homeless people that you're talking about. Do you think if you give them money, it will help them?
No, it will not help them.
It won't.
They probably receive some money.
Maybe they do. I think some of them don't, but who knows? I
Even
don't
the
know.
money that you receive from the streets. I mean, how many people are in Berlin? If you're in a good place and people just throw you €1,
Yeah.
you can make in a good place. You can make easily if you're there the whole day, which sometimes they are. But most of them not even asking for money. Some of them just really gave up on life. Yeah,
Gave up on life.
yeah, they just give up on life. They're like zombies.
Yeah.
They're just there. I don't know, trying to survive. I mean, even if you give up on life, man, from the moment that you give up on life until the moment that you actually die, it takes a while, I would say. I mean, it depends on how bad your life is.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't really give up on your life, even though you're in a really bad situation, because the energy, the passion, the will to live,
It dies.
but it's very strong. I mean, while it's still there,
While it's still
the
there.
will to live, even if you're in a bad situation, you can somehow continue to be in the situation just because you want to live,
Yeah.
even though the situation is very bad
It's
for
very
you.
bad. I think I had a conversation very similar to that with some dude before. It's a very dark.
it's
So
dark
talk about it, it's
places.
very dark.
Yeah, if you go a tiny bit darker. So I read this book. It's called A Man Seeking for a Meaning or Searching for a Meaning. It's about someone who were in what's called in the Holocaust, like a Jewish man. He was in those camps in Auschwitz, and he was also a psychologist, or a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Psychiatrist, and so he was good about what's going on with people in their mind and how they behave. And he noticed that every time someone was smoking there, because usually what they did, they would receive cigarettes, or somehow they would have cigarettes and then they would trade it for food.
Oh,
So they would not really smoke the cigarette because food is so valuable back then. And those who smoked the cigarettes, one day after they would just be dead because the cigarette was the sign that that's it, they gave up on their lives. And if you are in Auschwitz, it's a very extreme place to be in.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and when you are in those extreme places, then the human nature really comes up. It really goes up on the surface. You can really see what it's like to be a human. And there's no bullshit there. It's just completely raw. And you said that you can really see it with the people. I found it so interesting. But until you reach this moment when you really give up on life, it takes so much to bring a person down. And I think this is why people are stuck sometimes, because they feel like they don't really give up on life, but they don't really push themselves. They're kind of stuck in between the will to live and not having so much discipline.
But I also think there's a difference between not having anything to live for and not having the will to live. Because some people have things to live for, and some people don't have anything to live for, but they could still have the will to just stay alive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a good thing to notice, yeah.
And some people really just have nothing to live for. Like, they don't have kids, they don't have anyone, they don't have any legacy, they don't care about any of that. They're just there, but still, the desire to want to live is there. Whereas there could be people who have things to live for, but not have the desire to want to live.
Yeah. And I think most of the people who say, "Oh, I don't want to live. My life is so bad," they're the one who wants to live the most.
Yeah.
It's really hidden somewhere in the psychology's.
Even
things.
biologically.
Biologically,
it's in 2020 I released an album. It's called Orange Jumpsuit. So the central theme of that album was about the justice system and incarceration. So on each of those songs I was tackling different topics from, people that are unjustly put in prison, people who have to deal with PTSD when they come out. There is a condition they call post-incarceration syndrome, sort of like PTSD, but it's mostly something that affects people who live in prison for a very long time. So when they come out, they have this trauma response to all of the time that they spend there. And on one of those tracks, the very first track was about somebody who has been sentenced to death by law from the courts. And so when I was writing that song, I was trying to do a lot of research on how did they actually put people to death. Did they shoot them? Or because I had no idea what they did.
The electric chair.
And yeah, there are many, depending on the regulations and the law in each country, because some countries have different policies around that. The most common one, especially when Western countries did that, I think some of them don't do the death penalty anymore. They inject them with some kind of substance, and that substance is supposed to gradually drain life out of you, which is funny. It's called sodium thiopentone.
It's kind of a salt. Sodium.
Yeah, it's called a salt base. It's called sodium thiopentone, and when they inject it with you, into you, it's that particular chemical. Some of these sleeping drugs have that substance in them. So I read about people who they were injected with heavy doses of that thing because they were supposed to be put to death, and they did not die.
Whoa.
And that's really the body really fighting the toxins.
Oh, so it feels horrible.
And this is what I mean by biologically too. Your body resists certain things.
Yeah.
Like it's dying, but your body's really fighting against it. And so they had to, double or triple the dose so that it happens faster.
Wow.
It was a very horrible thing for me to come across. but it's just like what you said.
Isn't it more effective to just inject them with anesthesia, with high dose?
It's a combination of many.
Yeah.
This particular solution is the actual one that actually kills you. But before then, they give you like pain relieving drugs so that you don't feel pain, and then they put you to sleep, and then from the sleep you enter into this sort of coma where you don't wake up from, and then you die.
I see.
And so they inject them like 3 or 4 with 4 different solutions, but this is that particular one that actually gets you into the other life. And so I read about people who've been injected with this particular substance and they didn't die as expected. So they had to give them more and more doses of it.
And they stayed in coma the whole time.
And they didn't even go into coma.
Oh.
There was one that I read. He didn't even go into coma.
Oh, fuck.
He was just there.
Whoa.
He was snoozy. He was a little sleepy, but he just wasn't dying.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Life is very strong.
It is strong. Force. It is strong. And that's what I mean by the desire to live. Sometimes it's a mental thing, but I think our bodies biologically are also designed to fight against toxins. That's why you can ingest a poison, and I mean, we eat poison every day in the food that we eat, in the air that we breathe, and all this bad air and bad water that we drink.
There is plastic everywhere.
Yeah, but somehow your
Metals
body
everywhere.
just keeps going until it's too tired to keep fighting those toxins.
But that's it. We don't know it.
We don't know.
It's new. We never been through this.
Yeah,
We have no idea what it's like when everything is plastic.
yeah,
But if you go back, or still today, if you go to those places where they still live this hunter-gatherer kind of lifestyle, they're very healthy.
yeah. They are. They don't even know what plastic is. What plastic? What? What's that? Because they don't need it. They don't need it.
And the craziest thing is today we have so many solutions. There is this mushroom guy, Paul Stamens. You know this man?
No.
He's one of the top experts, I think, in the world for mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
And he have a lot of patents that he invested.
You mean actual mushrooms, or you mean the drugs?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah, he invented those patents with mushrooms. And one of them, he somehow trained the mycelium to be able to decompose plastic.
Wow.
And the mushrooms that comes up, in the end, they're edible. How it's not
does that
everywhere.
work?
Huh?
How does that even work?
Mushrooms, man. They're crazy.
Wow.
It's a weird organism. It's not really plant. It's not really an animal. But somehow it connects
Yeah,
everything
it's-
together. And it's so wise. I don't know if you ever tried psychedelic mushrooms.
No, I have not.
Man, this is... it's so hard to explain. But the best thing I can explain is that you have conversation in a different level with a different being.
So you transcend the physical, right?
If you take enough, the physical is not mattering anymore. You experience something that is called ego death. Have you heard about it?
No.
I never died. I'm still here. I have a friend who died. He was in a jiu-jitsu match, competition, and someone did a guillotine on him. So guillotine, if those who don't know, it's when you have the head of the other person in between your armpit and you lock him with your hand shin between on his neck, and basically you choke him like that. If you get stuck in this position, what you do usually, you tap, and that's it, because you cannot escape it most of the time. But this guy is tough, my friend, and he kept on fighting, but the guy he was against really locked him good in the guillotine. And then he stopped to fight, and the referee did not say anything, so the referee was a bit sleepy. I don't know what happened. And I think he was dead for maybe 3 minutes. He was being choked for a long time, and he was not moving. His hand was loose, everything. He was not with us anymore. And the referee did not stop it. So the guy was just guillotining him for a while. And then he died. He was dead, and then he came back to life. Somehow they saved him in the hospital. And then he just had to learn how to do everything again.
Wow. So he had memory loss.
He did not know how to speak. Wow. Yeah, everything back again. And this guy, what he
Like a
told
child,
me,
like a baby.
yeah, and what helped him a lot was LSD, microdosing. That's what he said. And I think also he used this mushrooms. It's called lion's mane. It's a kind of a mushroom that helps you make new neurons in your head. And I think also in your body overall. It's really good for everybody. If you take it, you need to take it for a while until the mushroom works. But when it works, you feel like you have super brain.
Wow.
You learn things faster and you make more connections. Creativity is getting even more creative.
Wow.
It's really interesting. And
It's nice to know.
yeah, and my friend is really into psychedelics as well. He likes to go and explore this realm. And he told me that it's kind of similar when he started to disappear.
But how do you deal with the dosage?
With the dosage.
Don't you? Like I think the chances of overdosing, isn't that high?
It's impossible.
It's impossible to be overdosed.
You cannot die from it.
You can't die from
You
it.
might have a very
Are you
intense
sure?
experience, and you might think like you're dying, and that's the ego death. It's a moment when you feel that the string that holds the spirit and the physical worlds together are start to really stretch until there is no more string to hold it. So there is no more physical body. At very intense doses, high doses, you really feel like, well, this is my hands. What is this? I don't know, these hands. If you're brave enough and you go and look in yourself in the mirror, you can really go lost.
You see something else?
Yes. It's something completely different.
Oh, that can be scary.
It can be very scary. And it's part of it. It must be scary.
Yeah.
A trip needs to have a bad part in it so you can appreciate it afterwards. And every trip have this. One of my recent trips I had, it was LSD. I took it in Portugal in a festival that's called Boom. And it was a big dose. And you know, with LSD, it's a big dose. You know, when the first 30 minutes after you took it, you already start to feel the effects on it. Yes.
I don't know much about this world.
It was so intense. I thought I'm losing my
How
hands.
is it like? Is it like pills or what?
LSD is it's a liquid.
It's liquid.
Yeah.
Sorry for my ignorance. I just
Oh,
don't
it's so
know.
good.
So you
Never say sorry for asking a question.
You ain't okay.
That's whatever you want.
Not sorry then. Do you inject it or you just
No.
drink it or
We're not junkies. We're
How do you-
hippies. We're spiritual.
you drink it?
You can drink it. You can put this bottle, this drop in a bottle, and then you can make it. You can dilute it a little bit.
Okay.
What is more common as well is to have those squares, paper squares. Usually it's like a sheet of paper, and then they soak it
okay.
inside the liquid, and then you have like every square is a dosage.
Okay.
100 micrograms. This is a good dosage, I would say.
Okay.
100 micrograms.
100 micrograms.
It's very little. It's 0.0001
1 liter. Yeah. Gram.
grams. And this 100 micrograms,
And if you put it in, could you put it diluted in water or
yeah.
you could?
If you have this 100 micrograms, it's a good LSD. It can change your life.
How much water do you need for that 1 microgram?
Now you just take it. It's one drop.
Just 1 drop.
Yeah, it's micrograms. It's nothing. It's microscopical. If you take 200, it can be very intense. If you take 300, it might fuck you up a bit. In a good way, of course. But what it's really so outstanding about this molecule that it's so tiny and so little, and it got such a powerful effect.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really insane. With LSD, man, I helped my knee heal. I had a knee surgery a year and a half ago. And I was home, so I could not really move. So slowly I learned how to walk again. And I remember...
And it helped you?
It helped me, yeah. I remember that I took 25 micros, which is not the full dose, but it's nice. I like it. It's like a little bit. And I had more access to my body. Maybe my focus was enhanced in these moments. I think when people take LSD, I think what happens in the brain is that we just we let go of patterns that we have and some thoughts that limits us.
Okay.
And then at this moment where I took those doses, I took 3 overall after the surgery, and 1 week after the surgery, and then 2 weeks and 3 weeks. Afterwards, I just felt it boosted my healing. It sounds crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's crazy, because we've known things to heal the human body that the established institutions do not accept. But that also goes back to what I was talking about, capitalism. There are many ways you could heal yourself and heal your body, but they're not really institutionalized yet, and they call you a conspiracist when you say, I took this and I was healed of this, and they say, nah, it's not possible. Who told you it's not possible? Maybe that person really had that experience. Yeah, so I believe that things can heal. I've never really been into these drugs, but if you say it healed you, I believe you, brother.
Yeah, I also would like to make a distinction between drugs and healing medicines or plant medicine.
Yeah, exactly. How do you distinguish in language
I think,
when you say
actually,
drugs? Yeah.
Every drug can be beneficial, and every drug got its
Can
own place and its own usage. Even cocaine, I think in
of
appropriate times, it can be very helpful.
Of course.
I don't like it so much, but in certain times it was helpful for me as well. It also depends how much you do it. You know, if you do LSD every day, you kind of abuse it. And it doesn't matter what you abuse. I think it's good to have some distance from stuff and to know how to harmonize with them in the right way.
Yeah.
But LSD, for example, it's mushrooms.
Okay.
Basically, it's a kind of a mushroom that grows on argon. I don't know what it's called exactly. But it's a mushroom. Basically, what they do, they extract the mushroom. It was discovered by mistake. They tried to make in Switzerland some medicines for the uterus. I think for constructive when it's like a muscle constructs.
I think it's contraction.
Contraction. English. So they want to make medicines for this to help women with the pain there. And by accident, they discovered it. The guy who discovered that basically had some of the liquid pouring down on his skin. And it was huge doses, not what we are used to. And then he just went home, and while he was riding the bicycle, he started to have a LSD trip. Yeah, and it was so profound to him that he came afterwards to the laboratory and he took 100 milligrams of it. Milligrams. Micrograms, it's like 10 times, 100 times, no?
Yeah, micrograms is smaller.
Yeah, it's like 100 times more than the dosage you should take. And he was the first to really go and experiment that. His name is Albert Hofmann. He also wrote a book about it with some journals.
Okay.
And then afterwards he went to South America and he started to investigate all the tribes there. They use plant medicine like mushrooms, ayahuasca. And he was the first one who took mushrooms from there and he extracted the psilocybin from the mushrooms, which is the active ingredient there. And he also brought it back to the tribe, to the village that they gave him the mushrooms. And they did another ceremony with what he extracted. And they said to him that the spirit of the mushrooms are also in that psilocybin, even though he extracted it from the mushroom. It's very interesting. And you have also those cactuses, which can also...
I've heard about that too.
Man, it's insane. And this is plants, you know, they just grow there.
Yeah.
And
These
they
are
have
things
their
that exist in
energy.
nature. Yeah.
They're teachers, in my opinion.
Yeah. I things that exist in nature. I think nature is very powerful and we can heal a lot of sicknesses with nature. But here we are. And we think
Let's put LSD in the water. Yeah, let's go back to the music.
Okay.
Let's illuminate some like. I think like we should listen first, huh?
Okay.
I like it as well. It's a good one.
I'm like... I bet you thought that was an incomplete sentence. But what I really mean is I'm like Mike? Not quite, like. See, if my name were like, then there's probably only one person in the universe I share names with. Nasir Jones. My name is like, I like. Sometimes I'm combative. Other times I'm affectionate. Sometimes I'm competitive, comparative. I just want to be you or maybe just like you. But you see, you and I are not the same. Because I refuse to let my life be determined by a collection of likes. I mean, how many more likes do you have to get for you to like yourself just a little? God damn it. I am unlike you. Because I know what I'm like, and I like myself regardless. You are a rambling teenage girl using me as a filler word to score cool points. You go, I'm like, they be like, she be like, it's like, just shut up, you incoherent degenerate. There is certainly a disparity between the likes of you and the likes of me. See, we are like identical twins. We share like DNA, but we are nothing alike. You avoid conflict. I like to respond in like manner. You used to have my back until we fell apart. And now I feel like every time you say my name, you say it with an unconscious tick. And just like that, you've turned me into a scornful paradigm. Because every time the grannies hear my name, they just shake their heads in contempt for the meaninglessness I have become, and it's all your fault. Why do you enjoy my torture so much? Every time you stab me with your steel spiky nails, my heart bleeds and pours out all over your device. I am your dopamine hit. I have emptied the contents of my heart and you still don't feel liked enough. I'm here to tell you there's a difference between like and obsession. And I don't particularly get jiggy with the latter.
And they all fade out. Well, how did this song came up? How the poem came up?
This one, one of the books that I read a lot, which, believe it or not, is the dictionary.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You read the dictionary for fun?
I just read a dictionary for fun.
Wow.
So there is this mental challenge that I do. I do it with myself. I think of a word, and I think, how would I explain this word to somebody who does not know the language or who does not know this word? And I try to come up with definitions, define definitions, not just me explaining what the word means, but just what does this word mean? And then you just say it. It means da 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 da. But we usually don't know how to do that. So I go to the dictionary and think, okay, I know this word, I know what it means, but I don't know how to define it to somebody. How does the dictionary define it? And then whatever I read in the dictionary, it always seems like, of course I know that. I could have been able to say it exactly that way. So I always do this mental challenge. And I was just reading the dictionary, I came across the word like. And I discovered that like is one of the most versatile words in the English language. True. I think it has one of the longest dictionary segment in the dictionary because it has so many.
Isn't it different between different dictionaries?
Maybe, but I use the Oxford. So in the Oxford dictionary, you just have so many different definitions of the word like. So what I tried to do was I tried to write a poem in which I use like. I use like about 30 or 31 times in this poem with different contexts and different meanings, of course. So I try to write a poem that explores all of the different sides of the word like. So sometimes you say, I am like my brother. You're comparing yourself with your brother. Do you like me? We're talking about affection. You and I are alike. It means, oh, okay, maybe we sort of believe in the same thing. Or did you like my post? Social media likes. So I try to use this the word like as many times as I could in different contexts and different meanings. So that's what I did.
It's very strong.
Yeah, it is. I think it's one of my favorite actually, because I didn't think I could do it.
Yes, I like how it goes in the beginning.
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah, I like.
I like Mike.
Did you ever see this video of a girl on the internet that's trending some weeks ago?
Which video?
She was on a podcast and she was saying something and she was just saying like. I don't know, like. She said like a lot of times and people were saying, do you know any other word apart from like? And that video came a day after I released this EP and I just like, okay, this is sort of what I was trying to explore when I said, you are a rambling teenage girl using me as a filler word to score cool points.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of these people, they think it's cool to just say like. Or when they're nervous, they start saying like a lot. And yeah. Or on the part where I said, why do you enjoy my torture so much? Every time you stab me with your steel spiky nails, my heart bleeds and pours out all over your device. I was referring to social media likes. So when you double tap on the Instagram post, that heart icon, it lights up into red.
Yeah.
So that red signifies the blood I'm talking about. So it's like my heart is bleeding because you stabbed me so much.
Oh, wow.
So that's really what I was talking about. Like when you stab me with your with your fingers, and my heart bleeds and pours out all over your device, which is your mobile phone or whatever.
Also, this should have a warning. Social media should have a warning like cigarettes.
Yeah, it should. It should. It can drive you
Must
crazy.
have. This is addictive as fuck.
Yeah,
But this is not physically, it's mentally addictive.
it is mentally. And that's why we're very disconnected. It's a very connected world, but we're also very disconnected from each other because we are living our lives on a digital sphere.
Yeah. It feels like everything is going there. It feels like somehow the digital sphere will become a part of us that we cannot be
It'll become the
separated from.
main, actually. It's sort of become the main.
It
Look,
is.
if women used to wear makeup, now they don't have to do that. So all they just have to do is put on a filter.
True.
That's the digital makeup. That's what it is.
Yeah, digital makeup. It's easier, it's faster.
Yeah. It's basically makeup, but in the digital world.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, and if you don't have a lot of likes as an artist, no one gives a fuck about you.
It's the same thing with the podcast game, man. You just need a lot of traction on
Yeah.
on the internet.
Like, it's the way now it's been.
Yeah, it is really disheartening, especially for musicians or for somebody like me, because I don't think my music is the kind that will get a lot of likes and views. I think I don't make that kind of music, and it's unfortunate that we're in a world where people judge your
Yeah.
artistry based on views and likes.
Yeah, it's also a problem that we judge ourselves based on likes. You know, it doesn't say anything about the music if it doesn't
No,
get
it doesn't.
likes.
It doesn't.
If it doesn't do, I don't know, like 10,000 streams, doesn't say
Yeah.
anything about the song.
Yeah. It doesn't say anything about the quality or the meaning of the song. It's the same thing with a lot of podcasts, the popular ones. It's just a lot of gibberish they're talking about.
Yeah,
And so when they get deals from these big companies, all the companies are looking at is how many listeners do they have or how many followers do they have on
Exactly.
social media. It's not really about the content.
yeah, some of them are good, definitely.
Yeah, some are good, but I think we have a flooding of podcasts at the moment.
Yeah, it's very. It can bring you good money if you have good listeners that listen to
Yeah.
you, monthly
But
listeners.
you have to build it up to that point, right? Before you can make good money.
Yeah, but if you have the same listeners or the same people who subscribe to your podcast and the same people who would subscribe to your YouTube, podcast will bring you way more money than YouTube.
More money. Mm.
And I think this is why people going there as well. At podcast, it's so vast; it can have so many forms.
Yeah.
It can be like this kind of podcast where we just talk and no edits. It can be more commercial podcast with edits. It can be just a solo person. It can be 5 minutes podcast.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, there's so many ways about podcasting and what it's like. Yeah, the content is so interesting.
Yeah.
It needs to be very good, the content. Otherwise, it's just bullshit, you know.
Yeah, it's just another one.
The people who are listening needs to feel like they learned something new.
Yeah.
Either it's really
educate.
knowledge or some cultural education,
Yeah.
which is the most important, I think. It's the fact that we can share our cultures and other people are exposed to that.
Yeah.
It opens their minds for something else.
Yeah,
Have you heard about the new Blue V of Facebook? What they want to do?
The verified.
The subscription.
Yeah, I heard. I mean, Twitter started that, and everybody
Yeah.
nailed Twitter to the cross, and now Facebook is doing the same thing. Do they really want to do that?
They already started.
They already started.
In New Zealand and Australia, they do
Really?
the test, and you can register, so you can get.
And how much do you pay?
How much do you pay? If you pay directly to them, it's like $11 or $12. If you pay via Apple or Amazon or something like that, you pay $15.
Wow, this is crazy.
So you pay $15, let's say, and you get the Blue V. But not only that, so you get a person who actually supports you. Because one of the biggest problems with Facebook, especially if you're an advertiser, that you can advertise and you can put a lot of money there. And if there is something that the algorithm might find you, it can be wrong. If the algorithm think it's right, it blocks you. And then afterwards, you need to release that. And imagine you have a business and imagine that you advertise in like, I don't know, $20,000 a month. All of a sudden your account is blocked because the algorithm thought that one of the photos was a naked guy, which is not.
Yeah.
Because it happens.
It happens.
And Facebook rather have this, you know, they rather have it safer for the users than for the advertisers. And then when it's something like this happened, you cannot really talk with someone.
With anyone.
There is no one to talk to. There is customer service. Sometimes they help you, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you need to upload some documents to prove that this is you and this is your business. There is no one to talk to. Yeah, you can do like what it's called when you have the decision and you don't like it, so you want to have a second
appeal.
Yeah, exactly. And you do that, and then it's stuck on appeal for months. Or it gets rejected, and you don't know why it got rejected because all the documents they ask are there, and so this can solve so much fucked up problems.
The subscription model has a support.
Yeah, exactly. This is the most important. If it goes like this, and you have actually a person that can help you, that you can talk to in case something happens, this is one of the things that Facebook really lacks in. They have zero customer support, I think. Not zero, but it's very minimum.
It's very... I had the same issue recently. I was trying to... Because I haven't been in Facebook for about 2 years. And then when I was going to release this new project, I wanted to promote it on Facebook. And then I couldn't... It's just difficult to navigate Facebook. It's just become so hard. Why is the user experience so terrible on Facebook?
What do you mean? For the ads account?
Yeah, for the ads account.
I think it's just a matter of learning how it works.
You think so?
Yeah, it's how to touch the machine in the right way.
No, but there are so many tunnels. There are so many ways you can get into the business manager thing.
Oh yeah, the way it's been like this. Yeah, you have the business manager, and then you have the ads account.
It's just...
And then you have the business suit or something like this, which is...
I just didn't understand.
Yeah, this is stupid. I agree. It feels like 3 different people.
And then I created an ads account, and just immediately after I created it, they blocked it. They said I violated Facebook policy. Like, dude, I just created this
without even putting any
nothing.
advertisement. Crazy. Yeah, Facebook really don't give a fuck about the advertisers.
I guess so.
And in Israel, it was something that it was an article that was published last week about it, about people putting a lot of money in Facebook. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, that's it. It's been blocked. You cannot do anything. Account is disabled. No one to talk to. That's it. Your business cannot have advertisement now.
Yeah, that's crazy. Imagine you invest a little money into that.
Yeah. They have no problem taking the money, but
no, it's
when you need the help, it's like, oh, we cannot
delivering
help
on the service. They don't.
It's evil, Facebook. But now we go back to this blue V. Also, it will give you more exposure as a person who was verified.
But what happens when everybody has one?
I think this is gonna solve some issues. I don't know what it will lead us to. From what I notice, every time I publish on any Instagram that I have, either my photography or the podcast, The Son of a Pigeon, there is always a bot commenting. Like in a matter of seconds, like tack, 2 comments, bots. Like send BM, or it's like...
Oh yeah, those ones. I think we all get them.
Yeah, check our profile, like all these bullshit bots.
Yeah.
And I know you can do it already, that if you're not following someone, they cannot tag you. Sometimes also get tagged in the stories.
In the stories, yeah.
With some good shine and all this bullshit. Like, this is the most suspicious ad you can bring to me. But people still fall to it. So I think in the blue V, you need to prove that you are you with the ID, with government ID. And that's one of the criteria to get approved. And then you can just not interact with all those who don't have the blue V.
Oh, okay.
You can choose. I don't want to interact with them. Oh. They might not be real people. They might be bots. They might be trolls. I don't want them in my profile. And then if you have some influence on people, that the people who wants to talk to you to be part of it, they will have the blue V as well.
Oh, okay.
So I think slowly it will start to become something that it's going to be like a Black Mirror episode with the social ranking system. I cannot believe that it will be gone. I don't believe in that. You know the social rating system?
I know. I think we're very close to it already.
Yeah. The social rating system, for those who don't know, it's a system in China, basically, that it's been working as we speak. And you start with a rating, and if you do something that the government tells you it's bad, then you get lower rating. If it's something that the government says that it's good, then you get higher rating. And if you get lower enough rating, then you cannot go, for example, in airplanes. You will have to take a bus. You will not have access to some schools or cafes. Yeah, and you can pay your money up, basically. So you can pay your money to get a better score. And this is what's going on in China.
I think the West is very close to that point.
Very close. Corona was an attempt, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With
It
the
was.
vaccine app that you need to scan everywhere you go.
Yeah. Like you don't have access to certain things because you don't have the app, or you're not vaccinated, or you don't have a test that proves that you're negative. It's just.
Yeah. And today you go everywhere. Facebook knows where you are.
Yeah.
And Google knows where you are. And I think also the AI technology is really exploding.
Almost every app on your phone is tracking you in some way or the other.
Yeah.
Almost every.
Even if you say, do not track me, they somehow track you.
They still track you.
Yeah, and I think AI will be able to know what you feel.
Yeah.
From, when you look at your phone, there is a camera looking back at you. And I'm pretty sure that phones will have some sensors that can sense your heat. Maybe they can sense your pulse. It's not so... it's not like a futuristic thing to have.
No, it's not. I think we're very close to that point. We might be there already. We just don't know yet.
Yeah, we're kind of there. Like we have the credit, bank credit. And all of us use money, so it kind of give us a certain score.
Yeah.
But it doesn't based on our behavior. It's based on our financial behavior, not general on our behavior. If you play too much video games, they can take your score down in China.
Really?
Yeah, if you talk shit about the government on social medias. And and if someone is snitching on you, they get extra.
Oh.
It's bad.
Okay, so they are incentivizing snitching.
Kind of, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. And they have cameras everywhere. And those cameras, they can tell if you're male or female. They can tell.
They can really analyze who you are.
Yeah, in seconds. In seconds, just track your face and they know about you. If you're male, female, what is your age?
Where you were born.
Yeah, I think we're there almost.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And maybe this blue V will give us, it will be the point of no return.
It could be. Could very well be. I do think that we crossed the point of no return a long time ago, though. But
yeah, what do you think was the point?
Oh, I think there are many points. There just were many points.
What is the most efficient? Not efficient. The biggest one that you think?
I can only speak on my own experience. I was born in the 80s, and I think ever since I was born, there have been some kind of surveillance. It's always been. And I think even before I was born, there has been some kind of surveillance with medical records, for example, with national identities, and then when telephones came, and now we have mobile phones, and then you have WhatsApp, you have all this instant messaging, and then look at what happened with the whole vaccination. During my time, vaccination was already sort of like a mandate when I was born. Children have to be vaccinated. But when Corona really started, it showed you a lot because you needed an app, and anything that's stored digitally, I believe that information has been transmitted electronically to some kind of database.
For sure.
So every time you go scan, what time you were scanned, what your location was, I believe they have been transmitted somewhere. And I think each of these instances that I have named could easily have been the point of no return. Any one of those could have been it.
Yeah. I think one of the points were 9/11.
9/11 was, it was one of those too.
It's like now there are terrorists everywhere. We need to check your bags every time you go to fly.
And we need to check your passport. And then we need to verify whether you are the one. And then when they verify your identity, they really encroach on your privacy.
You think so? I think to collect all this data is heavy.
It is heavy.
And you need a lot of storage for this.
Yeah.
It's a lot of data.
Yeah.
And I know big companies, they don't really store or track all this data, even though they have access to that.
Yeah.
But they want to keep it as low cost as possible, usually.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I believe that collecting all of this data is very encroaching of your personal space in a way. Just because, for example, I don't know how visas work where you're from, but if you're from Nigeria and you try to go to the West, you have to go to the embassies and apply for a visa. And Western countries really don't give Africans visas. They don't. So it's not like they don't, but it's very hard to get one. So they want you to prove your name and where you're from and your family, your. They ask for so many information that you don't even know about yourself, and they want that. And so what they do is after they get all of these documents from you, they now send an agent from their embassies to go prove whether it's correct. So they go to the school, the kindergarten when you were 2 years old that you went to, the school you went to when you were 6 years old. They go back there. I don't remember much that happened from my childhood. So if you try to prove that the school that I went to when I was 6, maybe that school does not even exist anymore.
Yeah.
You would say I lied. Right? But that it's not really the case. And so,
crazy. And it happens when...
Oh yeah, it happens.
And
the
people just don't get visas because places are not existing anymore.
No, not because of that. I'm just using it as an example. But people don't get visas because they think... I don't know. I honestly don't know what they think. The American embassy, the German embassy, they're very notorious over there in Nigeria for being very, in a way, discriminatory.
So insane, huh?
It is very discriminatory. And when you go to, I've been there. When you go there, they don't even let you in. They don't offer you seats. You stay outside. You stand outside, and you have to make an appointment. And if you don't make your appointment, you can't change it. And if you don't go, they punish you by giving you a 6-month ban.
What the fuck?
So imagine my mom wants to come visit me, or my uncle wants to come visit me, and he misses his appointment, or he can't make it because something unavoidable happened. He cannot apply until 6 months later because he has a ban, because they think, oh, why didn't you come? You should have come.
Is it like this in Africa in general?
Yeah. Oh, you need to hear stories from Africans. I mean, my story is not even the worst, but it's like that. They want to prove that you went to school, your medical record, very, very invasive things. And then they send an agent to go to your family and ask questions. Do you know this person? Is that person really from here? And blah, blah. And I get it. They're trying to do due process, as you might want to call it, but they don't do the same for every other person. Why is it Africans, they do that too? You get me?
Yeah, this is the most insane thing about this world. If you have the right documents in the world, you can have access to different places or not. You know, I got European passport, luckily. And the moment I had my passport, I was here 2 weeks afterwards. The moment I had it physically. And it's a Lithuanian passport. I did not know how to say Lithuania in English until I got the passport. But all of a sudden, I became a citizen. And now I can have access to all those countries and all these businesses I can do here, which was not accessible to me back then.
Before.
It's very interesting. It's just a document.
It's just a document.
It's bullshit. Someone decides to make this document and that's it. Then I get access. And what's the difference? You know, just because my grandfather was born in a certain place, I was able to do it. But what is the difference between me and you? You know?
Yeah.
It's very strange, but I also can understand it. Some countries don't want to, because some countries are rich, and usually where there is honey, so you have also peasants coming. And I can understand this, but now I think Germany is full of peasants, man. They opened the borders for people who immigrated from wars, and you know, once you have a lot of people coming in, you know, even if most of those people are amazing people, you have a lot of trash that comes with it. Yeah, because this is how life is.
That happens, and that's why I believe there should be very strong methods of vetting people. But at the same time, where do you draw the line between discriminating and also protecting your own territory?
Yeah,
it's difficult. So I get that maybe they don't give visas to just everyone, but I don't know. I just think it's really hard to make the line between discriminating people based on where they're from and also you trying to protect what's yours. Because I think you have the right to protect your own territory.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think there is many ways if some effort will be made into finding the right system, how they can really make people go there. But, you know, not...
Yeah, but what do you think about the German embassy asking somebody from Ghana to provide his birth record, his parents' birth records and his parents' marriage certificates and his marriage certificate, and you providing medical records of yourself
Just for a visa.
just for a visa, maybe a 2-week visa just to come on a holiday, and then provide also a letter from the head of your family.
What is the head of the family? Like the father?
I don't know.
Yeah, they make it more difficult.
It's very difficult.
They
That's what
don't
I'm
want you
saying.
to be there, basically.
They just don't want you to be there. So
Yeah.
where do you draw the line between we're protecting our territory and we just don't really care about you group of people. We don't want you in our country. Maybe people from this side we want them, but we don't want you. And
Yeah,
this
it's weird.
European countries, they're very notorious in Africa for that. And for example, my wife is German, and she never knew how terrible Germans are in Africa until she experienced it
In what way?
at the German embassy in Nigeria. It is very intimidating. They treat you like you're shit.
She saw it with her own eyes.
Yeah, it's something that I've experienced, and she was there with me one time before, and it is really, it is very dehumanizing. It sort of makes you feel like you're not good enough for certain things. But what does that even have to do with me just booking an appointment at an embassy? Do I have to be good for that?
Man, yeah. It feels like Africa been suffered a lot from the world. It feels like, and it's a very harsh way to say it, but Africa became like the garbage of the world.
Yeah.
Especially with factories. And I also heard something, it's in the conspiracy realm. It was about AIDS.
AIDS, yeah.
I've seen a documentary on YouTube. I don't know if to believe it or not, because it's still YouTube and it's still documentary, and also people can do whatever they want. But the documentary was about the fact that it was maybe in South Africa. I'm not so sure, but you can go and you can have this AIDS test places, like Corona test basically, but just for AIDS.
Test centers, yeah.
Yeah, test centers. And it's the same like Corona. It was even before Corona, I saw this thing. So you go there, you have a test, you go, you test yourself, you have like 2 kits. So one kid tells you something, negative or positive, and then the other kid tells you as well, negative or positive. If both of them are correct, then whatever both of them says, this is what you have. But if one is positive, one is negative, then you need to make a third one. And the third one is the one that will make
decide,
the decision, if you have AIDS or not. No, it's not AIDS, it's HIV. Sorry, it's not AIDS. AIDS is something else. The HIV, that's the conspiracy. And then, let's say that you're HIV positive in one station, you go to the other one, which is 5 minutes, 5 seconds walk, just across. And there you can be negative. So do I have HIV or not? What's going on here?
Well,
and the conspiracy basically that it doesn't exist, HIV, and the chemotherapy that they give to people in the pills, cocktails, whatever they call it, it's basically chemotherapy that is there to kill you. And I don't know about this so much in the details.
And like I said before, the truth is somewhere we just don't know it, but it does exist.
There's some stuff that's happening, that's for sure.
I've heard some conspiracies. When I was much younger, in the mid 2000s, I actually used to call myself a conspiracist. I identified as that. But the older I grew, I realized the conspiracist movement. There's a lot of nasty, weird people in there. They just say a lot of nonsense that doesn't even make any sense. But I believe some conspiracies might have some truth to it. But I believe most of it is also just people seeking the truth.
Yeah, mostly like entertainment, I would say. Some of it. But you don't know, like flat Earth.
You never know, yeah.
What do you think? The Earth is flat?
The Earth is flat.
I don't know.
I
never seen it from space.
I never seen it from space either. But I think the based on my own limited knowledge, I think that the Earth is flat. I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Your Earth, a flat earther? Damn.
Flat earther, yeah. That's
I feel that my English is
flat
slowly...
earther. No, it's just
my brain power is going down slowly. It might be flat.
I'm not a flat earther. It's not an ideology that I wear as like a coat everywhere I go and say, yeah, I'm a flat earther or whatever.
You have a shirt with flat.
It's just we're all seeking knowledge, we're all seeking the truth, and based on the things that I have read, which might also be false because you never know.
Yeah.
I do believe it makes more sense for the Earth to be flat rather than to be a globe.
Then you also think there are the ice that basically they're keeping the water inside, the ice on the edges. That's the belief, right?
I really don't know. Most of my the things that I believe is also influenced because I'm a Christian. Is influenced by the Bible, and there's many references to a flat Earth in the Bible. So
In
scientifically,
a lot of mythologies.
yeah, scientifically maybe it doesn't make sense, but as far as biblical stories, yeah,
But also science is a religion in a way.
yeah, it is.
Because I know it from whatever you decide to be the true in the experiment that you want to create, somehow it will be. You just need to run enough experiments, but somehow you will refine it tiny bit by tiny bit, or reality will refine it so you will have the results that you want.
That you want.
Like gravitational waves. You know about this?
Yeah.
You know what kind of equipment they use to measure this?
No, what?
Like very sensitive equipment that's supposed to be in somewhere that's extremely cold, so it will not vibrate. Very top of the equipment, and then you think it's so sensitive. How do I know it really measures gravity, or is it measuring something else? And I might confuse it with gravity.
You never know.
I'm not a scientist, so I don't know how they measure it.
I also don't.
It's like it's something not tangible so much. Gravity. How can I? I mean, it's here, right? Like now I drop a pen, but how can I?
How can you,
grab it? How can I measure it?
materialize? Well, that's why they're scientists. I'm sure whatever metrics that it discovered to measure that, I'm sure there's some kind of legitimacy to it.
Yeah, might be. We're just not smart enough.
It might not be 100% legitimate, but I do believe that there's some form of legitimacy to it.
Yeah, there is a dude who's making a YouTube channel. It's called Vsauce.
Vsauce.
And he's got a video about the flat Earth.
Okay.
And he was like, "Oh, is Earth flat? Is it round? What's going on?" And really goes down with measurements and science and numbers to measure it. And he came to the conclusion that it can work both ways. Whatever is being said in the flat Earth can also be applied to if the Earth is round. It just depends what you say. Because when we think about round Earth, we have the globe, we have this ball, and then we have the sun, which is far away. But if we take the sun and we make it smaller and we put it closer and the Earth is flat, then it reacts the same. You can watch this video. It's really, really interesting. Okay. I can send you a link as well.
Yeah, please do. You say his name is
Vsauce.
Vsauce.
Yeah, it's like a nerd guy from the America.
Okay.
He became really famous with his channel. Then he started to go to South America and do some ayahuasca trips in the name of science. And he locked himself in a white room with light. So it was completely white, light the whole time. He was there for 3 days, 72 hours, just for as an experiment. Like really insane stuff. He doesn't see the daylight. He doesn't know if it's day or night. And he just thinks, how much is 3 days? Also very interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How would you know?
You don't know. Crazy. All right. We go back to the album.
Okay.
To illuminate the last song.
Yeah, there's just one track left there.
Just a poem.
I am an orator. I am exceptionally brilliant with words. They say a picture's worth more than 1,000 words, but I'd rather paint perfect pictures with mere words that even the painter could not expressively capture with brushstrokes. That's a disservice, a displeasure. The words of this poet can never be disregarded. Now I take that back. For real, I take it back cause I'm a creator. I create words that create life. Bury these words and see them grow and bloom like orchids cultivated on a cultured soil. These words got flesh, blood, body, spirit, soul. This is poetry. This is prose. I could make you buy a poisonous potion, but I'd rather not. Cause I just wanna win battles, win wars, win souls, earn victories, make history. Sorry, I just rewrote it. You about that life, I'm about these words, cause this to me, fam, is life. See, I was born for this, I was birthed with this ability. I master the art, I master this craft, it's artistry, it's craftsmanship. I turn pulp and papyrus into paper, leather skeins into parchments, clay and stones into tablets. I quill, I pen, I ink, call it whatever you want, I'm just a wordsmith. And don't confuse me for a prodigy, cause I'm not. And I'm not a genius either. I'm just a shaper, a maker of gracious, grace-given, gorgeous, life-saving, engaging words. I am great, I am magnificent. You know where my peak is, that's where I wanna be. Where I can speak words that transcend and transform, never to be translated but transfigured. But I'm not yet getting closer, I'm not yet going on with this dead broken bones, singing 40 songs while I'm crossing Jordan. I'm gifted, but my gift is a curse. And don't blame me, I am just a poet.
Yeah, that's the last one.
A lot of self-empowering.
Yeah.
It's important.
Actually, I'm not doing that to self-empower, but that particular piece has been released before in 2016, I think. But I remastered it and I changed the instrumentation. I put some classical piano and violins.
What was before?
It's also very similar, but it wasn't. I wouldn't call it classical music.
What was the difference?
Just the instruments.
Mm.
Yeah, the instruments. I did use some strings too, but it just wasn't like a classical composition. This one sounds a lot more classical.
Yeah.
And I re-recorded the vocals too, because the quality is different. Yeah.
More crisp with the Neumann.
Yeah. It's crispy now. I mean, it was good before too, but I just thought the delivery should be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still similar, but I updated it. I actually wanted to remaster the old one that I had, the old version, but it wasn't sounding as good as the newer tracks that I recorded. So I thought, let me just re-record it so that it has the same quality with the other 4 tracks. Yeah, and I guess I wrote that because there are 2 reasons I wrote that. When I started out in poetry, I was a member of a poetry group called Just a Poet. And that's really the name of the group, Just a Poet. And so it was a sub group under an association of authors. So we had like a subgroup under that for people who wrote poetry, and I was a member of that. It was called Just a Poet, and so many of the people that I wrote poetry with that I learned a lot from, they were from that group. So I thought, okay, let me write something called that same name. And also because I came from rap music, and most of rap today is you really boasting about who you are and how good you are than how good you are than the other person. So I guess it's just the rapper brain in me that just write something about how dope of a poet I am. So yeah, those are the 2 reasons why I wrote that.
Yes, also like the fact that you don't need to be talented.
Yeah.
You're just about doing and shuffling and matching stuff. I think this is the true art.
Yeah.
There is no skills. There is no... there is just the willing to go and try new things and to shuffle.
Yeah.
Every art will be great the moment we shuffle.
Yeah, I think so too. At first, I was very skeptical at releasing this project because I didn't know what people were gonna think of it. I couldn't really sell it as music per se, and I also couldn't sell it as classical music. And I couldn't. So poetry you can sell, but spoken poetry cannot. It's not really sold unless maybe you write it in a book and publish a book.
Yes.
And you sell more. So when I was trying to promote the thing, and I reached out to many promoters and PR firms, they just didn't know what to make of it. Like, you cannot take it to the radio and say, play this on radio. And funny enough, Spotify calls it an audiobook.
Really?
On Spotify, it says audiobook.
But don't you are the one who decides what it will be?
I know, right?
So how did they call it an audiobook?
I don't know. I just woke up one day and I saw it says audiobook. Okay. So yeah, it was very hard for me to figure out how could you market this. So you cannot give it to a DJ and say play this. And so most classical radio stations that I also wanted to send it to, because it has vocals on it,
Yes, it's not the right niche.
they don't think it's a right fit. So, but good enough when it got released. A lot of people were listening to it. I can really see from my dashboard, it's getting received well.
And do you have some comments from people about the project?
Yeah. I never thought so, because I thought people don't really like poetry, but I was wrong. People love poetry.
Yeah, and I think it's more than the poetry. It's the delivery that you have. It's the way you speak it and where it comes from, from this place in your soul that it comes from.
I guess so.
It's very authentic.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
It is, man.
Thank you.
It's very difficult to find something authentic these days.
Thank you.
And what I like about your music, it activates my thoughts. And you make me question stuff. And this is what's really important. It's like expanding the mind.
Yeah.
It really reminds me of Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah. He got also the same kind of attitude about what is the truth. And when I heard this album, To Pimp a Butterfly, it changed my whole life.
Yeah, people consider that one of the best albums that Kendrick has released. And also in hip-hop, it's considered one of the best hip-hop albums. I think maybe because Kendrick is very experimental, maybe that's why you think my song reminds you of...
It's more the messages.
Oh, it's the conscious part of it. Okay.
The conscious, exactly. The spirit behind it.
Okay.
This is what I feel. Lately, he's also been experimenting with poetry. His latest album, have you heard it?
Yeah, I did. I didn't enjoy that album so much.
It's a weird album. I heard it so many times. I said there is something there. I really appreciate him.
Yeah.
And I appreciate him throughout the way, like since Section 80, and then you have Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly was the first thing I heard from him, and then I just heard it so many times. And then when he released this album, I have so much appreciation towards this person as an artist, everything that he did, the mind-opening experience that I had from him. And I just refused to believe it's a bad album. I had to listen again and again and again and again. And in the end, what it is, it's a therapy, I think, mostly for him.
I think it's done for him.
Yeah.
It's sort of like what, I think it's a very good way to approach art. Do it for yourself first. So when all the, managers and promoters told me they don't know how to promote this, I should go look for somebody else who can specialize in this kind of thing. And I just thought, it is what it is. I'm not going to make money off it anyway. Let me just put it out.
Yeah.
So I just did it. And I've received a warm response from a lot of people that have heard it. And some of the things that I wrote in there that I never thought that people would pick up on, a lot of people actually picked up on it, so I was wrong. And sometimes you have to check your own reservations. Because I was reserved.
What do you mean by that?
I thought nobody's interested in something like this. Like, nobody cares. That's what I thought. Nobody gives a damn about this. Let me just put it out, let it be there, whether people like it or not. But I happen to be wrong.
Yeah, this is something we never know what's going to happen. And there are some books I read about how things become viral. It was even earlier than viral trends on TikTok. They talked about Disney. They talked about like Mickey Mouse watch, how it became crazy watch, and what makes stuff really explode and go up. And it really goes deep. The book goes deep. They tell you about a lot of stuff, about music, about hits, about a lot of stuff that just become,
A sensation.
popular. Yeah. And as deep as they went, the conclusion is that no one knows.
No one knows. Yeah, that's a good place to end it, because you never really know.
Yeah.
I'm always very skeptical about people who promise you fame or a hit, or who do you think you are? You can't promise anyone anything.
Some people can.
Is that so?
Yeah. There are some people that I know if you're going to work with them,
Yeah.
for sure you're going to have something incredible.
Yeah, incredible, but does that translate to success though?
It can, yeah.
It can, but it doesn't
Just
always.
because they took you under their wing,
Yeah.
so they bring tide into your life just because they have so much energy.
That's true. It also depends on how you define success anyway.
Yeah, definitely. That's the very core of it.
Yeah. It all depends on how you define it.
Yeah, but let's say successful musician. If someone promises you, no one can really promise you this stuff. And I think also the biggest names in music, they don't promise anything. They just do.
I'm even thinking beyond music now. I'm thinking about in the corporate world, you have all these consulting firms, and then they tell you we're going to help your business grow. And if you no, the marketplace is very, very volatile and it changes. And you cannot promise anyone anything, because human beings, we are very individual. I know stereotypes are true to a large extent, but I like to treat people based on an individual basis. So if a consultant tells you now, you have a startup, you have a great idea, I can help you blow it up. Mark Zuckerberg did start things that failed, even after he attained success.
Yeah, Meta is one of them.
Yeah. So you are telling me that you know what I can do to make me successful, and I will be successful and consultants are liars. They just want their own money. They want you to pay them their own fees, their consultation fees, and I'm thinking way beyond music now. I think it's really hard for you to promise anything in the modern marketplace, because it's very volatile, it's congested. There are so many people offering the same services that you are, and they're doing it better than you. Doesn't mean they're better than you, but as artists we have this imposter syndrome, where you're doing amazing things on your own, but you look to the right and then you see a colleague of yours and he's doing amazing things, and you be like, oh well, I wish I was doing that.
Yeah.
So, there are so many people in the marketplace who are doing amazing things. So if you think that you are the most amazing and you're just gonna hit that market and just get all of the sales, I think when reality hits you in the face, you realize, okay, there are many people doing wonderful things out there. Mm-hmm. So it's hard for anyone to say, yeah, you're talented and I'll make... No, it's not that easy. It's really not.
But I think on the other hand, you have also a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, there are many opportunities.
Especially today, and there is enough for everybody. There is more than enough for everybody, in my opinion. At least in the Western world.
Yeah.
There is more than enough. But I think it's everywhere. There is always opportunities everywhere.
There are.
It just depends on the human mind and the individual who decides to take those opportunities and leverage them.
Yeah, true.
I think that if you provide service, you have more chances to achieve those goals that you want to achieve. Mm-hmm. So whatever you want to do, even if it's music, I think first of all, how can I provide service to those who are listening? And for me, I do it with having amazing sound, amazing mix, good production, make it interesting. I make the lyrics as interesting as possible. Interesting for me, I meditate on what I do. And this is also part of the creative process. I let it mature. I'm not doing nothing basically, but I just let it mature. And I think it's very, very important.
Yes, it is. It is.
Because sometimes I feel uncomfortable with a certain word, and I think you also know this feeling. And a certain word, that's the best I could find at this moment, but this is not the right one.
This is not the right one.
It doesn't fit 100%.
True.
And 90% of the times I found the right thing to fit there perfectly. It just took me some time sometimes.
Patience.
Yeah, exactly.
Patience.
And I also think that the really good ones, who are doing it for decades and they keep on reinventing themselves.
Yeah.
And it can be anything, it can be music, it can be just something professional. Those are the people that we would like to be close to. Those who know how to invent themselves.
Yeah.
Music-wise, one of my biggest admiration is Rick Rubin, the producer, and Dr. Dre,
Okay.
Max Martin. You know those names?
Yeah, I know.
Man, they're crazy people. And Rick Rubin is the most interesting one because
Rick Rubin, yeah, he's how many years has that man been in the game?
he
He's been
is,
there since forever, man.
without Rick Rubin, you will not have Dr. Dre.
Yeah, there will be no Dre, no.
And
none
he
of that.
invented hip hop, kind of.
Yeah, the production part of it, I would say.
Yeah, it's not right to say he invented hip hop. He presented hip hop.
Yeah,
That's the right way to say it.
yeah. On a mainstream, yeah, you could say that. Although I would not say that in public because I think I would emphasize the cultural element, the cultural aspect of hip hop as its foundation before
Yeah.
I refer to the commercialization or the production of it. I think people have been doing hip hop on some level for many years before. Rick
Yeah,
Rubin.
for sure.
But he brought it onto the main stage, sort of.
Yeah, what he did, what he says, how it was when he came there. So we went to those clubs to see all those artists perform. And you had a DJ, and the DJ would do the scratches.
Yeah.
And then he'll say, wow, that was really cool. I would like to buy the album. And then he goes, he buys the album, he puts it, and it's like R&B. Like, what's going on? Where is all the rawness that I had in the club? And then he thought, I would like to document it correctly. And this is basically how we started. And this is how we started with Run DMC, with Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
And in the same time, he also produced Slayer. You know Slayer? Heavy band, heavy metal, fast,
I don't.
violent, heavy, evil.
Is that the guy from Canada?
Slayer.
Where is he from?
Slayer. How do you say it in English? Slayer. Like they have a song, Angel of Death. And the first word, it's a whole album. It's called Rain in Blood. So you have the song, which is Raining Blood, but the album is Rain in Blood, like control in blood.
Okay.
And the first song is called Angel of Death. Fucking violent. The first sentence, Auschwitz, the meaning of pain, the way that I want you to die.
Whoa.
Slow death, immense decay, shower the cleans of your life. Like they're violent and it's fast, like crazy shit, man. And Rick Rubin produced that. He made it sound incredible, and this is one of the best albums in metal.
He's very good with the metal hip hop crossover too.
Yeah,
Yes, he did that with Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
He also was there. Who else he produced?
I guess he
Jay-Z.
deserves a lot more credit than I give him.
He also did Johnny Cash. He got this American
I
album,
know.
the acoustic ones.
I know about that one too.
Yeah, he's also behind that. System of a Down,
System of a Down.
Slipknot also. Slipknot are crazy.
Yeah, man has done things. He has
Man,
done a
we're
lot.
almost 3 hours in the podcast.
Yeah.
I think it's
Maybe
about...
we can wrap it up.
Yeah, we can wrap it up. I think we can wrap it up by you telling how people can find you, about future plans with the music.
Yeah, okay. I'm available on Instagram. This is weird. I hate analysis and all these sort of things. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's Carrio Xanders, CarrioXanders, and my music is available everywhere too. The new EP is called Illuminate. It's a mix of classical music and poetry. And if you're a fan of those two worlds meeting somewhere in the middle, then you should completely check it out. Other than that, yeah, you can follow me on socials, and you don't have to, but it'll be nice if you do. Just check out the music.
Yeah, let's support each other.
Yeah.
Are you planning to do any tour, any live performances?
I am trying to do a tour in the UK. Currently, it's hard for me to do any kind of touring in this part of Europe because I think like what I do will not be received in the way that I think it will be received. I think poetry is a little bit difficult to sell to people who are not native speakers of the language that you're writing in. Maybe they appreciate the concept, but there are so many things that go over your head because you just don't get it. So I'm planning something. It's still in the works, but it'll most likely be in the UK.
Cool. Man, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for talking to me.
Yeah, it's been a great conversation. Goodbye, people. Sound of the Pigeon Podcast. Sound of the Pigeon Podcast.
Sound of a Pigeon Podcast.
I am like, I bet you thought that was an incomplete sentence. But what I really mean is I'm like Mike? Not quite, like. See, if my name were like, then there's probably only one person in the universe I share names with. Nasir Jones. My name is like, I like. Sometimes I'm combative. Other times I'm affectionate. Sometimes I want to be you or maybe just like you. But you see, you and I are not the same. Cause I refuse to let my life be determined by a collection of likes. I mean, how many more likes do you have to get for you to like yourself just a little, God damn it? I am unlike you. Cause I know what I'm like, and I like myself regardless. You are a rambling teenage girl using me as a filler word to score cool points. You go, they be like, she be like, it's like, just shut up, you incoherent degenerate. There is certainly a disparity between the likes of you and the likes of me. See, you and I are like identical twins. We share like DNA, but we're nothing alike. You avoid conflict. I like to respond in like manner. You used to have my back until we fell apart. And now I feel like every time you say my name, you say it with an unconscious tick. And just like that, you turn me into a scornful paradigm. Because every time the grannies hear my name, they just shake their heads in contempt for the meaninglessness I have become, and it's all your fault. Why do you enjoy my torture so much? Every time you stab me with your steel spiky nails, my heart bleeds and pours out all over your device. I am your dopamine hit. I have emptied the contents of my heart, and you still don't feel liked enough. See, I'm here to tell you there's a difference between like and obsession. And I don't particularly get jiggy with the latter.